Open tabs, margin notes, highlighter, bleed through quotes, research mind, steady eye, patterns only she can note. I-90 fog, whispering under wheels, skyline, afterglow, 2 states, packed rooms, quiet minds that know, no sign needed out front. They circle to her voice, questions rise before she starts, curiosity by choice. She pivots mid-lecture, checks who's leaning in close. Say the part you skip out loud, that's where the learning goes. Heads home with the speakers up, Biggie in the background, mind still mapping theories while the city slows down. She teaches the why behind the crime, the hurt behind the face, Philly in her backbone, psychology in her grace. Don't let the hype fool you, she stands 10 stories tall. She don't just teach the lesson, she teaches you through it all. Late nights with case files open, notes in the margin glow. She's showing you your story's roots, so you can choose where to go. Biggie quotes inside the slides, right next to coping skills. Spread love between the lines of how a nervous system feels. Long days, quiet grit, humor in the punchlines. You are more than this moment. Written 10 times, old assessments in a folder, ink dust on the sleeve. She can map anxious attachment before you know you grieve. 1 foot in Jersey lecture halls, 1 on the Philly street. Home is where she learned to fight, classes where we don't repeat. Grown kids texting check-ins, pride she doesn't post. She teaches minds all day, then goes in mother's most. Case files, true crime, mind behind the scenes. She doesn't tell you what they did, she shows you what it means. Your story is not your diagnosis. You are allowed to rewrite it.
Hi everyone, welcome to my live, welcome to my big old mess over here. Hold on, let me put my handbag down. I was still trying to get myself together. I looked in the mirror at the last minute and was like, girl, you worked on this live so much so that you should have probably looked in the mirror a little bit more. So just bear with me. Hi y'all, how's everyone doing? How you doing? Let's see, let's open the chat and see who's here. I'm already making a mess. Hi everyone. All right, let's see, who do we have here? Oh wow, we have a few people here. We have Harlot, Cuff You, Downbound, Alexa. Alexa's in the house. Is Addie here? Hi Addie if you're here. Casey. Who else is here? We have J-Lo. Oh yeah, I had to kick everyone out. I didn't kick them out. After I wrote that, I was like, that sounded terrible. I didn't mean it like that. You guys know what I mean if you have kids. I was like, all right, enough now. I worked on this way too hard for you guys to be rambunctious like that right there. You all have bedrooms. So they went upstairs. No big deal. Okay, we have... who else do we have here? You guys, there's so many of you here. We have Vic Brat. Welcome in, you guys. Hit like and subscribe. What else? Oh my gosh. Hi, Case. What's up, Zier? Marin Bella's here. A wise woman. Matt's in the house. What's up, Matt? You guys, this is a great crowd. So thank you all for joining me. Not as opposed to that I don't actually, I always actually, but for those of you that don't know me, hi, Dr. Jamie Vona. I've been teaching psychology at the higher education level, so at universities and colleges, for over 20 years. I have so much of a background, you guys. I'm definitely like ready for this. I know most of you. I don't want to be, too repetitive. Anyway, if anybody ever has any questions, you could just ask or go in the my description in the channel. It's in there as well. So, Addie hears and says hi back. She's going to ask you for the Waffle House before the live is over. Addie, we're starting a bad habit here, but a good one. I'm all about it. We got your back over here, Addie. So Tony's in the house. What's up, Tony? How you doing? How's everybody over here? I'm so glad to see all of you. Yes. Make sure a few things. Put your chat on live chat so that you get all of us and not just top chat, if that makes sense. And then also, I have a few things here. I don't even know where to start. I have so much stuff. It's not anything like that. Like, I did have a PowerPoint slide, but then I think I'm going to omit the PowerPoint slide because I have like an outline that I did, and my outline has like the links and stuff that we need. So I'm going to pull up our first link. So what we're gonna do tonight, and I will most certainly, oh, thank you. Who was that? A wise woman. A wise woman started us out with some jewels. Thank you. You're the best. So what we're going to do tonight is, you guys, I have a lot of stuff. So I don't know. I got access to the transcripts from Legally. Oh, thank you. What's up? What's up with you? Thank you so much for following right along. I appreciate that was so much. So first we have a wise woman, then we have what's up. I really do appreciate you. You guys, wait till you see how hard I worked on this. We have like certain segments we're going to do tonight. I have a whole new flow of things. I have the entire transcript from Legally, Legally something factually innocent. Legally guilty, factually innocent. I couldn't get that out. That I needed a second. I'm getting old, I think. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, so thank you to her for sending me the transcript. You guys, I have the juvenile transcript and the adult one. So tonight we're going to begin. We are going to begin by talking about the case, but also we're going to look on certain parts. So this is the thing. Now that I have the transcript, I've been able to make themes amongst the transcripts and come up with certain topics specific that we're going to touch upon in the next, few lives. There's a few of you that I'm sure that are getting sick of this case, and I do apologize for that. I want to make sure that giving the audience what they want to. My analytics are saying to stick to this case for right now, and that's what I want to do. Also, because there's so much psychology that could be had amongst this case. So tonight, we are going to look at this case starting all over again, because this is the truth. We have bits and pieces of the trial here and there on YouTube, but we don't have the entire 8 days of testimony. So I went to look up these transcripts, and if you had to, whoever was the first person to get these, whether it was the prosecution, the defense, the courts, whatever, it said that it was approximately $2,000 to $12,000. I was like, oh my God. But then there's FOIAs and stuff like that, but I don't believe these are just out there like a lot of the other documents are. So I do want to thank you again, Legally. We appreciate you so very much. Thank you. So less than a month before Dominic and Davion died, a witness testified that he heard Mackenzie Shirilla say, "I'm going to wreck this car right now." So if you already have a verdict in your head, obviously, I want you to just put it on hold just for a few minutes. Ready? We're not going to go team Mackenzie or team everybody else. We're going to go with evidence. So what was observed, what was heard, what was later reported, what did the defense say, right? What did the prosecution argue? What did the courts actually decide in the end? And what psychology, this is my favorite part, what can psychology teach us without, without going into this as if it's like a psychology lecture. So we'll also keep Dominic and Davion at the center, right? So we're not supporting characters in a story about a surviving driver. Two families are living with the consequences that no live stream on YouTube or anywhere else for that matter can fully represent. So our job is to be accurate, humane, and brave enough to sit with uncertainty where uncertainty remains. I'm a psychology professor, not Mackenzie's clinician, so let's keep that in mind. I'm not diagnosing anyone, just analyzing documented behavior and explaining the psychological concepts that may help us think more clearly about what it is that we're seeing. So the legal conclusions belong to the courts, right? The factual record belongs to sources, but the interpretation will be labeled as that interpretation, and that's just what this is. This is my interpretation based off of my education. I have a bachelor's and master's in counseling psychology, a specialization in marriage and family therapy, and a doctorate in education. And I did my dissertation, my research on the effects of social media's effects on the identity development of 18 to 24-year-olds. So I feel like there's just so much here that I feel an expert on that I could talk about. So with that being said, the very first thing that we're going to be looking at tonight, our first little segment here, is the sentence that changes the question, is what I have it labeled here as. So this is, we're going to open up file. Oh, who was that? Ivy. Hey, Ivy. How you doing? Thank you, Ivy. I do appreciate you. I appreciate you. Thank you. And yes, if anybody has any questions, put some fires there. Deb. Hey, Deb. How are you? Oh, my gosh. I love that. Deb from Phoenix. Where is everybody else coming in from? Everybody let us know. And Cuff you, if you can, put the name of the chat we were in last night, because I said in their chat that we would give them a shout out tonight in our chat. So definitely put that out there if you possibly can. That's where we hooked up again with Legally, and Legally shared this with us. So, you know what I mean? We have someone from Texas. We have some people from Florida. We have people from Kentucky, Canada. Oh my God. We have so many good people here. Love this. Okay, so let's go over here real quick. So the first file we're going to pull up is, this is, and I just have to attach it. And this is going to be the bindover part 2. Okay, so this is the thing. There's the appellate document that I got access to. I got access to the court. There's 4 parts of the adult court, and then, or like 3 or 4 parts of the adult court and 3 or 4 parts of the child court, the juvenile. So this one here that I'm about to, or that I am sharing with you rather, this right here is called the bindover part 2. Okay, so this is held in the bindover part 2. This particular document is part of her adult proceedings. Okay, so the trial, and we're on page 111 of 268 of the document. So I'm going to read from there, and I'm going to start with, here, let's start with, all right, let me start here. So this is the detective. So the prosecution is questioning the detective on the case, okay? So the question is, this was obtained a month, maybe 7 weeks after the accident or the crash, correct? Answer, that's correct. So that's the detective. Okay, thank you. You obtained a search warrant that enlisted Mark Sargent to assist you with reviewing the Toyota service records, the Toyota forensic examination, correct? Answer, correct. All right. And did you conduct additional interviews of Dominic's family in your investigation? Yes, sir. I interviewed Dominic's mother, Miss Christine Russo, and I interviewed his brother, Mr. Angelo. So, on separate occasions. Okay. Did you also interview a man named Christopher Martin? I did, sir. Okay. Anybody else? And then the court says, I'm sorry, Christopher what? Mr. Troop says Christopher Martin. The court, thank you. Question, anybody else? Answer, I interviewed one of his friends by the name of Blair Thomas, which I have that interview. Okay. Either Blair, Wallace, Thomas, something of that combination. And did you learn anything useful per your investigation from the interview with Blair Wallace or Blair Thomas? Answer, no. Okay, tell us about your interview first with Angelo Russo. Angelo Russo's interview occurred after I interviewed Miss Christine Russo, who told me he could shed more light on the relationship between Dominic and Mackenzie. So he came to the station accompanied by his mother, and I began the interview by asking him to tell me about how long he had known Mackenzie. He said he had known her since 8th or 9th grade. He described their relationship, if I recall correctly, as kind of like a big brother, where she confided in him for various reasons. I asked about Mackenzie and Dominic's relationship, and he said, when they fought, and I quote here, things did not take a healthy course, and end quote. So the quote was, things did not take a healthy course. Throughout the course of the interview, Your Honor, he highlighted some instances where Dominic had been trying sufficiently in July of 2022, had been trying to end the relationship with Mackenzie. He alluded to threats being made that were substantiated, that were conveyed to him by both Mackenzie and Dominic separately. So each told him on a separate occasion about some issues with the relationship and some threats that were being made. So now the prosecutor asks, did he say who was making threats to who? Answer, he said that Mackenzie was making threats to Dominic. Did he tell you anything about Dominic wishing to remove himself from this relationship? Yes, he said that Dominic wanted out and that he attempted in July of 2022 to end the relationship on a couple occasions. Okay, and was that interview recorded on a video recording? It was, Your Honor. I used my body camera. However, in all those instances where there would be privacy concerns, I would keep the video off, so it only audio recorded. Tell us about the interview with Christine Russo. With Miss Russo, I was interested in that interview initially because of the content that Miss Russo made subsequent to the crash about not believing it was an OVI related, and I really wanted to probe into that. So we interviewed Detective Grover and I, Miss Russo, and that was the first question that I asked. And remember, Miss Russo telling me that at the cemetery she ran into Mackenzie and she asked her, or the conversation came up of, why didn't you call for a ride? Why didn't you call us? And Mackenzie told Miss Russo, and I quote, we weren't fucked up. Question, okay, so you followed up and interviewed Christine Russo? Yes. Was that also recorded? Yes. You guys, I have all these interviews. Okay. And there was more to the conversation. I wanted to know about the residence situation, whether Mackenzie was living there, and Miss Russo did confirm. And she further stated that Mackenzie even had laundry at her house, not just at Dominic's, but their two houses are next to each other, and that she had done laundry for her. I asked her about the relationship, She said she shed some light on Dominic and how he's quiet and reserved person, not somebody who posted his life on social media. And so we went over a couple of incidents, one in particular that happened on July 17th. Okay, and tell us what you learned with that July 17th incident. So, on July 17, 2022, Your Honor, Miss Russo told me about the incident whereby Dominic called her and asked her to pick him up from out of the car that Mackenzie was operating, and they were somewhere on the roadway. This incident, there were text messages on Mackenzie's cell phone that substantiated the existence of that. Miss Russo said that a friend of the family by the name of Christopher Martin, who goes by Hench, was actually the person who went to the scene and picked up Dominic and drove him home. Mr. O'Connell, objection. The court, objection to what? Mr. O'Connell, to what Miss Russo will say that Mr. Hench did or didn't do. The court, I understand it's multiple layers of hearsay, but hearsay is allowed in a probable cause hearing. I'll overrule it. Oh, so this is the probable cause hearing, I guess. So by Mr. Troop, question. Just for ease, we'll just discuss what Christine Russo told you, and then I'll ask you questions about what happened next. Okay. Or answer. Okay, Miss Christine Russo said that Dominic wanted to be picked up from the interstate because Mackenzie was trying to crash the car. Question. Okay. And did she tell you anything else about that event on 71? Answer. That a friend of the family picked up Dominic and drove him back to the house. Okay, a friend of the family's? Christopher Hench Martin? Question. Answer. Christopher Martin, who goes by Hench, correct. Okay, and then you also interviewed Christopher Martin? I sure did. Okay, what did he tell you? By Miss Christine Russo to pick up Dominic because of some altercation in the car with Mackenzie. Mr. Martin directly told me that he called Dominic and he was on the phone with him trying to find out where they were. He was ultimately directed to Interstate 71 northbound between Pearl Road and Bagley Road. Mr. Martin, while on the phone with Dominic, told me that he overheard Mackenzie saying she's going to crash the car. At that point, Mr. Martin said that we pulled up behind Mackenzie's car on I-71. He observed her striking Mr. Russo. Mr. Russo's exited Mackenzie's vehicle, got into Mr. Martin's vehicle, and drove him back to his residence. Did you receive some video recordings that were made around the same time frame from the middle part of July? Did you receive some videos that Dominic Russo had made of an interaction that he had with Mackenzie Shirilla? Yes, Your Honor. Oh, I guess it's the judge that's asking the questions, you guys. Yes, Your Honor. Mr. Dominic Russo, surreptitiously using another person's phone, was on a phone call with Mackenzie. Okay, she was outside of his house. He was using the cell phone, and he was recording with a third-party cell phone. And we received 3 videos or 2 videos. The judge. So I'm going to play you Exhibit 68. Play recording. So you guys, this is the recording that we heard. Here, I'll bring some of it up so that you guys can, in case somebody is watching this for the very first time, which I doubt, but you never know. So let me refresh your memory. Here. All right. Share. So this is going to be Dominic and Mackenzie. He's taping her from a friend's phone. I won't play the whole thing because we've heard it before. Maybe I'll speed it up too, just to give you guys a quick reminder of what it is that we were that they're talking about here, because they did play it at this point in court. Hey, Thomas. Oh my gosh. So I feel bad for Gianna though. Her boyfriend, AJ, he just left for China for 3 weeks.
Like before you lied.
All right, here it goes.
You lied and said you would never lock me out of the house again. That is what, but I forgot. You can never
broke up with me
your word. Because you are a little fucking weak bitch.
You broke up with me earlier. You literally broke up with me earlier.
This is your last chance to open the door, or you are not coming out of this house all night, because I will not.
You guys, I just got a text that it. Oh, now it is.
You literally broke up with me earlier. Like what is the point you're trying to, like, you broke up with me, like, earlier. Like, what point
No,
are you trying to say?
I didn't.
Yes, you did. You said we're not together. You really said that shit. Like, you really broke up with me earlier. Like, what are you trying to make? Like, why would I just let you in my house if you break up with me and you're threatening to break my shit? Like, you're threatening to key my car, threatening to break the doors.
I will key your car
like,
if you do not let me in the house.
You're gonna key my car if you don't let
If you don't let me in the house, yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. So just let me in the house.
No, like, why can't you just be like calm at least for a second and I can feel calm?
I am calm. I am calm. I don't think you get to decide that with your fucking weird ass, like, trauma problems.
You're literally threatening to fucking key my car and shit. What else are you threatening?
John, I'm gonna give you one last chance to open the door. I'm gonna leave and do what I said I was gonna do.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna give you one last chance.
Kenzie, look, let me go to dinner.
No.
You can let me go to dinner and then I can let you come over later.
No, you're not, because I'm coming to dinner too.
Why? You should have told me you wanted to come.
You fucking retard. She already put me on the reservation, so fucking open the door, you dumbass. Like, open
Alright,
the door.
well, let's just go next door then.
No, we're not going next door.
No, I'm not letting you in the house.
We need to talk first now, because you just, like, betrayed me.
Alright, we can talk outside. Here, cut it out. Don't try to come in.
Quick, that's a great question. As he smokes, says Birdie. Hey, Birdie.
Like before, you lied.
That was the first one. There's 3 of them, playing them here. And here's the second one real quick while I look up what... while I look up that question, where they live, which I think is an amazing question. Very good question.
You lied and said last time we broke up. But I forgot. You can never
broke up with me
your
earlier.
word. Because you are a little fucking weak bitch.
You broke
So
up
this is your
with me
last
earlier.
door, or you are not coming out of this house all night, because I will not leave.
You literally broke up with me earlier. Like, what point
No,
are you trying to
I
say?
didn't.
Yes, you did. You said we're not together.
I didn't.
You literally said that. Should I just let you in the house if you break up with me and you're threatening to break my shit?
2,
Like, you're threatening to key my car, threatening to break
I
the
will
doors.
key your car
like,
if you do not let me in the house.
you're gonna key my car if you don't let
If you don't let me in the house. Yes.
What the fuck?
Yeah, I know. So
Be like calm at least for a second and I can feel comfortable
I am
running in
calm.
the house.
I am calm. I don't think you get to decide.
To fucking key my car and shit. What else he threatening?
Tom, I'm gonna give you one last chance to open the door. I'm gonna leave and do what I said I was gonna do.
What are you gonna do?
I'm gonna open.
Kenzie, look, let me go to dinner.
No.
You can let me go to dinner and then I can let you come over later.
No, you're not, because I'm coming to dinner too.
Why? You should have told me you wanted to come.
You do not open, like, you think I'm joking. Like, I'm dead ass.
What are you dead ass about?
Okay, I'm gonna give you one last chance to open the door.
Kenzie, I can't open the door. I can't sit here and fight. We gotta go to dinner to fucking see my grandparents. Like I can't
You're
see.
not going to dinner if you don't open the door. I'm gonna let you know that right now.
And then what? What would happen? What are you trying to say?
I just told you what happened. You're not coming to dinner. You're not going to dinner.
What do you mean? What do you mean?
You know it. That's exactly what I mean. It doesn't. You don't know exactly what I mean. You're gonna come open this door right now, or there's gonna be a serious fucking problem.
I can't. No, like you can't keep threatening. You can't keep making all these threats. Like I can't open the door.
You can't keep kicking me out of a place that you say is my home.
Kenzie, I didn't kick you out. You took all your shit and dipped, and said we were done. Like,
I did not say we are done, Dom. Okay, ready? I'm gonna count to 10. The door's gonna open. Okay? You're gonna open the door. Stop hiding behind the door like a little fucking bitch. Ready? 1, 2. Something wrong.
what are you trying to break?
Okay, open the door.
What are you trying to break?
Open the door.
No, I'm not opening the door. Kenzie, I can't do this shit right now. You can't sit here and fight like.
Okay, well, you're not going to dinner.
Okay, well, step away from the door. Maybe I can come outside and talk for a second.
No, we're not fighting outside. You're gonna open the door right now.
Why are we fighting outside?
You have 1 minute now, actually.
Look, really, now my mom's trying to call me. Like, I got.
No, if you hang up on me, we're done. I'm leaving.
Kenzie, there's nothing I can do. Like, I can't.
There is. Stop being a little bitch.
I can't let you in my house with how you're acting. Like, it's as simple as that. Like, there's no way. There's no way I should. Like,
I'm just gonna break the handle off.
Huh?
I'm just gonna break the handle off. It's already moving.
Fucking break the lock. Like, you're really gonna break into my house?
Yes, I will. I will break into my house. You're right. I will break into it.
It's not your house. It's my house.
It is. Dom, now open the door. Now open the door. You have 30 seconds left on the phone call to open the door. We're done.
Mackenzie, I really don't think I can.
If you can't open the door, then you can't be in a relationship with me.
You're threatening to break shit out. You're like, oh, I'm gonna break the glass and shit. Like, you're threatening crazy shit like that.
10 seconds to open this door.
I really don't think I can. Like, why can't we just do this shit? Like, why can't we just do this later?
We're not doing it later because I'm coming to dinner. You have 5 seconds to open the door.
But you want to come to dinner with us? You want to come to dinner with us if you want.
Open the door.
Kenzie, if you want, you can come to dinner with us.
Dom, if you don't open the door, I'm in your car.
Are you?
Okay, you have 30 seconds, or I'm gonna do it.
Kenzie, do not key my car. Do not do anything to my car.
Okay, so I'm going to stop it there because the rest of this one and the next one, a lot of it is just silence. I mean, you lied. What did you lie about? And apparently she lied something about a charger or something, I guess, to get into the house, which was really shady, but you know what I mean? So, but real quick, I have to say hi to Heidi, Neva. Who else did I say? I think I already said hi to Matt, but just in case. Hey, you guys, Downbounds here. All the friends are here, you guys. Thank you for being here. I do appreciate it. Then, Cuff, you said that she posted the answer to the question about residency, let me try to find this, hold on. Cuff, you said you're considered a legal resident of Ohio if you lived in a home continuously, kept your belongings there, received mail there, and were treated as living there even without paying rent or having a lease. Because of that, your boyfriend cannot legally lock you out without a court order, since Ohio law bans all forms of self-help eviction. Oh, wow. So let me show you what I found too while we were listening to that. I also found some info on it, and then we'll switch back over real quick. I just want to show you what I have here. But I found the short answer: Mackenzie could not independently choose to move out merely because she was 17, but she could physically live with Dominic if her parents permitted it. Ohio law distinguishes legal custody from where a teenager happens to sleep. At the relevant time, December of 2021 through July of 2022, Ohio's age of majority was and remains 18. At 17, Mackenzie was legally a minor under her parents' custody. And I have the code right there if anybody wants to see it. Ohio did not provide a general procedure through which a 17-year-old could petition to become emancipated. Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court still explains that Ohio has no emancipation statute permitting a child to become emancipated by filing a petition. And here goes the Cuyahoga County Juvenile Court page if anybody wanted to see that. If she had left against her parents' wishes, her behavior potentially could have been handled as an unruly child matter, because Ohio includes a child who refuses the reasonable control of a parent or guardian. That is a juvenile status matter, not a crime equivalent to an adult offense. So in other words, you guys, her parents could have forced her to go home. And an adult could commit away from the person's parent or legal custodian. In 2022, the ordinary offense was first-degree misdemeanor. 2022 applicable version of the Ohio, here's the code right there. So that's just, and I just asked for the laws. And this news, this is my ChatGPT, and I have a whole Mackenzie Shirilla case file that I uploaded a bunch of the stuff, and it uploads it here too. It has all of my sources here. I always make sure they're sources. So all of the things, look at all these sources right here. Oh my gosh. That's a lot more than I thought. And then it gives other court cases to back it up. Then it says however, privilege can arise through the express or implied grant. Therefore, parental permission, written or informal, can make the living arrangement lawful rather than harboring a runaway. So as long as her parents said it was okay. What the case record establishes: the appellate opinion summarizes the trial evidence as follows. Christine Russo owned two neighboring houses. Christine lived in one, Dominic lived in the other. Christine testified that Mackenzie moved in with Dominic around December 2021 or January of 2022. Natalie Shirilla testified that Mackenzie was living at the Russo house. Christine considered Mackenzie part of the family. Those facts appear in the official appellate division, so in one of the court records that I have. The opinion does not identify a custody order, guardianship transfer, lease, written parental authorization, or emancipation ruling. It also does not specifically quote Natalie saying, "I give Mackenzie permission," but both families clearly knew where she was living, and nothing in the published record suggests that the Shirillas reported her as a runaway, demanded her to return, or accused Christine of hiding her. No one was charged with interference with custody. Therefore, the most defensible conclusion is Mackenzie remained legally under her parents' custody, but the adults apparently permitted her to reside in Christine Russo's property with Dominic. It was an informal living arrangement, not Mackenzie independently establishing legal residency or becoming emancipated. And then, I didn't even ask this, my chat GPT went on to ask, what about Dominic being 20? That age difference did not automatically make the cohabitation or relationship criminal. Ohio's unlawful sexual conduct statute applied when an adult engaged in sexual conduct with someone at least 13 but under 16. Mackenzie was 17 during this living arrangement, so their ages alone would not establish an offense. And here goes the code right there. Legally permissible does not necessarily equal developmentally wise. It knows that I teach developmental psychology. Those are two different sandwiches. Oh, that is weird to say. I usually would say those are two different subjects. And then it says, allowing a 17-year-old to essentially cohabitate with her 20-year-old boyfriend in a separate house raises substantial questions about parental boundaries, monitoring dependency, conflict escalation, and whether the adults treated an adolescent relationship as though it were an adult domestic partnership. But based on the current availability record, it does not appear that her residence there was itself illegal. So that went a little bit further than what the question was, but I'm really glad that we asked that question because I appreciate, looking at all of these questions that we have about the legalities. Okay, so next I'm gonna put this back up. This is where we left off here. And we're going to keep going. All right, hold on, let me get rid of this. And I'll get rid of that. Okay, so this is where we left off. Cause us any problems. Here we can close out our chat GPT. We don't need that. We can close out the video we watched because we don't need that. All right, we just need our screen. There we go. And my random notes that I have here. Okay, well, it's like my outline that has all of the links that we need. So over here, you guys, we're reading right now the transcript. So this is the transcript. State versus, oh no, wait, hold on. That's a different, well, it is. Let me keep going. So it said, did you receive some video recordings? They're the recordings that we just heard, you guys. Yes, Your Honor. Dominic Russo's, and we just said that, So they play the recording. Do you recognize this? Yes. Is this a recording telephone call you just described to the court? Yes, sir. Playing recording again. Detective, you received 2 videos regarding this incident. Answer, I believe 3. Okay, I'm going to play for you the State's Exhibit 69. Then they play a video again. Is that a fair and accurate depiction of one of the videos that you received? Yes, sir. You testified that you executed a search warrant on the cell phone belonging to Mackenzie Shirilla. Yes, sir. Did you find evidence on that cell phone pertinent to your investigation? Yes, sir. Okay. All right. So hold on. So you know what? I'm going to end at... Oh no, there's another part. I'm sorry. In addition to the next text messages that you already relayed to the court that you used to corroborate the interaction on I-71 between Mackenzie and Dominic, did you find evidence of marijuana use? Yes, sir. So I think that was the end of the I-70 stuff. Let me just make sure. All right, I'm just making sure that I got all of it. You guys are seeing what I'm seeing. I went through and searched hench. All right, that we just read that. All right, I think we got it all. All right, so we have that part, so let's keep going. All right, so my next thing that I have for us over here, so let me tie this up a little bit over here. Hold on, let me grab. Oh, here comes the dog. I always have to. Thor always has to come around right now, right? Okay, so the next thing we're going to look at. Come here, Thor. Come here, buddy. No, he's like, I want no parts of you. So we just read, this is about the sentence that changes a question, is what I titled it. So here, we're going to look at why did I'm going to wreck this car right now become so important, and what does it actually prove? So that's the question we're looking at. So we just read that transcript. There's another appellate summary PDF, page 8, that I'm going to share with you right now. And this next one is evidence, further evidence. So let me share this. Here we go. So it's going to be this one right here, share. Okay, so this next document here, you guys, I already went to page 8, so we're already here. Let me make it bigger. Oh, I didn't. Here we go. Bigger. Okay, so on page 8, it starts to talk about Christopher Martin, okay? So it says, Christopher Martin testified that he is 42 years old and a friend of Dominic Russo's family. Martin testified about an incident that occurred in July 2022 before the crash. On a day that July, Martin was sitting with Dominic's mother, Christine Russo, and Dominic called Christine. Dominic seemed upset, in quotations. Christine grew upset, and Martin agreed to drive to get him out of a situation that could have been a bad situation. Martin called Dominic on the way in order to obtain his exact location and ultimately located the vehicle which Shirilla was driving and in which Dominic was a passenger on the shoulder of Interstate 71. Martin was on the phone with Dominic at the time. As both cars were pulling over, Martin heard Dominic and Shirilla arguing. During the course of the argument, Shirilla said, "I'm going to wreck this car right now," quote, in quotes. Dominic moved to exit the vehicle when it came to a stop. Martin testified that he saw a hustle inside the car with Shirilla swinging her hands at him. Dominic exited Shirilla's car, entered Martin's car, and Martin drove Dominic back to the Russo home. Dominic was upset, in quotes. On cross-examination, Martin admitted that Christine Russo owns 2 houses next door to each other. Christine lives in one house with 2 of her sons, and in July 2022, Dominic was living in the other house with Shirilla. Martin further admitted that he did not report the incident on the highway to police. Christine Russo testified that she's Dominic Russo's mother and that Dominic was 20 years old when he was killed. Christine owned 2 houses next door to each other in Strongsville. At the time of the crash, she lived in one and Dominic lived in the other. Can you let the dog out real quick for me? I'll let him back in. Thank you. According to Christine Russo, Dominic and Shirilla had met in school and had been dating for approximately 4 years at the time of the crash. Christine considered Shirilla to be part of her family, and they spent a lot of time together over the years. Shirilla moved in with Dominic in December of 2021 or January of 2022, which is... oh wait, hold on. What am I supposed to be looking at? Hold on. What are you guys saying? Oh, wait. I missed all that. Wait, it's 2 comments. I posted them already, Cuffio. That's weird. Is it still glitchy? I don't know if you guys are. My internet says it's fine, so I'm not sure. Huh. Alright, Cuff, you said to ignore. I'm just going to ignore and keep doing my thing. Okay, you guys, so let me keep going. I'm sorry. So if your internet's being weird, maybe, what's up? Try to go out for a second. There you go. Okay, now it's okay. Sometimes you have to refresh it too. It says my internet's okay here though, so hopefully we're all good. All right, I'll just back up a tiny bit just so that we can keep the flow. Christine Russo testified that she is Dominic Russo's mother and that Dominic is 20 years old when he was killed. According to Russo, Dominic and Shirilla had met in high school and had been dating for approximately 4 years at the time of the crash. Christine considered Shirilla to be part of her family, and they spent a lot of time together over the years. Shirilla moved in with Dominic in December of 2021 or January 2022. What do I find important about this, you guys? January of 2022, on New Year's Eve, so December 31st into January 1st. Do you guys remember that's the night of the fall of Kendall, the friend, which I did a video on before. I'll have to do a live on that because that is just, I have all the evidence there together. Not only do I have all the evidence of the fall, but I then went back and found all of the voice messages of Mackenzie talking to her friends about it and put it all together with the videos from that night. So I did a really good video on that. If anybody wants to watch it before I get to it in a live, go check it out in the videos. Okay, so in the 6 months before the crash, Christine observed that the relationship between Dominic and Shirilla became strained. So there you go, guys, before the 6 months before the crash. She observed fighting, arguments, disagreements. You guys, do you want to know what's interesting? 6 months before the crash would be when she moved in. So I see this as, if you guys remember from their text messages, they often, like she would beg to come over, stuff like that. And he often felt like smothered, which I totally get. I'm wondering, however, if her actually moving in, quite frankly, was too much. I could see that it would be, especially at this age, right? So Christine observed the relationship had been strained. She observed fighting, arguments, disagreements, breakups, and threats. She reported that Shirilla became more possessive of Dominic. There came a time in August or September of 2022 that Christine and Shirilla were together at Dominic's grave. Christine asked Shirilla why they did not ask for a ride on the day of the crash, and Shirilla responded that they were not fucked up. Shirilla and Christine also communicated by text message about the accident. Shirilla texted Christine the following: I remember, it really kills me not to be able to remember anything. I promise you I would tell you. I've been asking my therapist why I don't remember, and she said it's because of trauma. I'm going to try to get myself hypnotized and make myself remember. Christine confirmed the incident on July 17, 2022, where Dominic called Christine and needed to be picked up immediately. That Christine asked Christopher Martin to pick up Dominic, and the two returned to her house approximately a half hour later, and that Dominic was upset when he returned. After Dominic died, Christine was provided with 3 videos of Shirilla and Dominic on a phone that had been inside of Dominic's house, which she provided to the police. Christine testified that the videos had been made in July of 2022. Oh, wow, you guys. I don't think I knew exactly when they were made. So they were made in July of 2022. After the incident on the highway. Wow. Based upon the content of the conversations between Shirilla and Dominic, and had been recorded on the phone owned by William Ellis. The phone had been in Dominic's home and was returned to Ellis, who then discovered the video recordings. The court allowed the videos to be played. That's the ones we just listened to. Over defense objection that they were admissible under evidence 404B. In the video, Shirilla can be heard threatening Dominic, threatening to break into his house. Paul Berglingus testified, oh, that's Paul, the kid that they went to their house the night of the accident or whatever, the night before, where they all went over there and they were supposed to do shrooms and stuff, and Paul's parents were away, he goes to bed, all that stuff. He's 19 years old, and I think he goes on here and just talks about the normal sleepover, no one drank, da-da-da-da-da. Okay, so that's the end of that part there real quick. So let me go on to my next point, or the next part that pulls this all together. Okay, so here's the discipline. That is not the word I was using there. I do apologize. ADHD. Okay, so what we looked at is, I was trying to say transition, and I don't know where discipline came from. Anyway, Christopher Martin is what we just looked at. So that was the account of the July highway confrontation. That's what the live's about, is that confrontation, right? We want to look, because this is going to be our central question. So it's not whether, well, not what it's not. Let's talk about what it is. What is it that we're questioning here? So what evidence, let me see how I want to articulate this. What evidence, okay, what legitimate evidence do they have? Because there's 2 totally different stories when it comes to this specific the specific idea here. So the first, also, I don't want to minimize anything, right? So, you know, I don't want to minimize anything. At the same time, I don't want to inflate anything. So I do want to get that, and I want to keep everything clear here. I'm just giving you the evidence based on both sides. What we have here is Christine testifies that when Hench goes to pick up Dominic, that Mackenzie was swinging her hands at him so that she put her hands on Dominic, and that she was the one that threatened him. However, what they never do during the trial, the defense never goes on to show the actual text messages, because the text messages show that Mackenzie claims that Dom was the one that escalated here, and that Dom was the one that said he was going to crash the car or wreck the car, and that he was going to turn the wheel and crash it, right? So we have, and then she goes on to text Miss Russo, says something to her. Dom eventually apologized to Mackenzie through text as well for the incident, and there's evidence of her telling Rosie as well. So we have text messages of that as well. So, you know, it was presented to the court as if, you know, as if Mackenzie was the one that was threatening. And why is that important, you guys? Because a week or so after, she kills them in the same way. So, you know, this is my thing. For me, I feel like not that it doesn't matter, obviously, but I feel like it's neither here nor there, in the sense that either way, whether it was Dom or Mackenzie, the idea of wrecking the car, which would, you know, most likely take both of their lives. So it would be like a Romeo Juliet thing, like we're taking us both out at the same time. Whether it be him or her that threatened it, or him or her, whatever, the idea is that during this time of brain development and developmental, you know, this very important developmental period in your life, this now is an option. Like, it becomes something that you thought about now. So it's part of the cognitive thought process at this point. And that, to me, is the questioning part for me, right? So also, let me show you something real quick. Okay, so we just looked at the testimony, the procedural history, the court reasoning stuff. I showed you all this. I showed you the statements by the witness. I did that. I did the prosecutor. The defense, I don't think, did enough here, in my opinion, to help Mackenzie. And again, when I say that, I don't mean that, you know, that's not to say anything of Mackenzie's innocence or anything like that. I'm just saying that, you know, she could have maybe been found guilty still, but she should have had all of the evidence out there. So the fact that they didn't present that was a lot for me. So threats during a conflict. So let's look at the psychology part of this. Threats during a conflict can function as coercive control. So let me take this off and just show you me, because I'm going to give you a little psychology segment. It's only like, I only have like 2 things to say. But threats during a conflict can function as coercive communication, emotional dismissing, but remember, we're not diagnosing anybody before I say any of this. It could also be looked at as an attempt to gain control, and that's a big thing for me here, right? So you can create conflict to regain control, even if that is a very dysfunctional behavior. It's still something that one can do to, in their head, regain control, even if that's a very out of control behavior, right? So a threat is behaviorally important, but not psychologically alone. It can't tell us whether a later act is going to be planned. Think about how many times you've been angry in your life where you've said something to someone, or you've, like, you know, even think about being a teenager. If you've ever done like one of those things where you like flinch type thing and anger, any of those things, right? None of those things go on to tell us that you're then capable of doing something so horrific. So I do think that we need to remember that, or that you could plan something out like that, right? However, okay, what I want you to take away from this is that the evidence can sometimes change the analysis, right? Because if this part of the evidence was brought in and there was a jury, could the jury have seen this Or, you know, would this piece of evidence even been brought in if there was a jury? Or, you know, and did the defense not serve her, you know, because they didn't bring it up? So, but this doesn't eliminate, you know, we have to look at everything in context, right? But from here, we're going to move on from this piece to something that we're going to look at parallel to it, if you will, that also corroborates but complicates or limits what we can say here. So let me show you what I mean. So this next part we're going to go to is the printed transcript. I have here, Martin testified he located Mackenzie. Oh wait, I did read this part. Hold on. I'm just going over my outline. Mackenzie testified that Martin located her car on I-70 north between Pearl and Bagley. It remained in phone contact. So this is what Martin's saying. Heard the argument, reported the crash threat, observed a tussle, and drove Dominic home. Okay, so we just talked about that there. This next part, let me pull this next part up. Oh my gosh, that was what I just read. Sorry, you guys. Okay, and it's not up on the screen. Hold on. Let me show this on the stream again, but I'm going to switch it up in 1 second. Like, just switch up the document. Okay, so this next part, what do I have here? Okay. So this next part we have, hold on, I feel like that's the one we just showed. I don't know why it's showing me the same thing. Okay, here we go. This is the next part. So this next part is in the bindover. It's in the printed transcripts, pages 338 and 339. And then I have, this is the thing. So I don't want to be boring. So what do I mean by this? So I have the actual transcripts of the testimony. What I did in the first segment was I read you the actual testimony, but then I also read you from the appellate thing. It gave you the blow by blow. I don't know. I guess it just redoes the case. So in this section, I'm just going to read one of them because it was literally the exact same thing. So I don't want to be repetitive because we'll be here until 5 a.m. if I do that. So I'm going to read from, this is State versus Shirilla. So it's still the transcripts, right? But instead of showing you multiple, it's almost like multiple pieces of evidence of the same thing. So just for the sake of time, I'm going to read it this way. So let me see if I can make this bigger for you guys. Okay, so this is 46 pages, this one, and this is 41 of 46. Hold on, let me just see something real quick. So we're looking for, can you come get Dom? All right, hold on. Okay. Shirilla further complains about the following exchange during Detective Jesus' cross-examination. So the defense counsel says, you were asked on direct about text, correct, by the prosecutor? Jesus, I don't recall. You don't recall? No. Well, Dominic Russo texts people that night that he loved them, correct? Prosecutor, objection. The court, sustain. We need to come to sidebar. Come up here. The court, as for the past question, which clearly the detective was not asked on direct, it is stricken from the record. My apologies, Judge, says the defense counsel. So in either instance, did the defense counsel attempt to lay a foundation? All right, hold on. Let me just get right to the thing here. Hold on. Let's look right up. What's the word I'm looking for? Can you come get Dom? So how can I look that up? I can. I got this. Let's see what happens. Oh, here we go. I found it. All right, let me go to the next one. All right, we read this one. I don't want to repeat what we just read. I'm trying to get to the text messages. Oh, I think that there it was. All right, now next one. Okay. This says, we read that part. Wait, let me keep going, you guys. I want not keep going like that way. I mean, I think it's on the next thing. I read that part. I got that. Okay, so I'm looking for, actually, I could just show you what I have here too. Wait, hold on, bro. This went back to sleep. Okay, I think I'm getting closer. Hold on. Angelo testified that he's 24 years old and is Dominic's brother. All right, we're going to get into that later, so I'm going to skip that part for real quick. Oh, that part's horrible about. All right, here we go. You were asked on direct. All right, hold on. Do you recall? Well, Dominic texted people that night. Objection. That's the part we were just saying. You guys, I'm just going to bring up mine. I copied mine right out of here just for the sake of time, and I just went through that, and I don't see it right there, but I know for a fact that I have it. I'm just going to tell you what it says that I'm looking for, because this is ridiculous. I don't want to waste any time looking for this. So I believe it's on 338 and 339. Maybe I clicked on the wrong thing. Hold on. Let me just see one other thing. Let me just hit 338. Watch, it's going to be right there. 338. Enter. Oh, that's why. Because there isn't one, you guys. I knew I wasn't. Oh, yes, there is. Hold on. Yes, there is. All right, I just have to go all the way down. It's just not. It's in the next one. Hold on. 338. What I'm looking for is on. I had all of this ready. Let me just check what I have, because I did all the work for us. I should just share my notes, but then that's going to just share my notes. That might not be the best idea. So I'm not going to do that. But what I'm going to go ahead and use right now. So I'm going to leave that up there just for the sake of not having something right up there. That I could just throw up. So I'm going to leave that up there for a second. But what I was looking for was Mackenzie. I'm looking for text messages where Mackenzie says, can you come get Dom? This is to Mrs. Russo. So she says, can you come get Dom? He just grabbed my steering wheel on the highway, trying to spin out my car and hurt me. And then Mackenzie says again, so she writes this, hit send, nobody writes, she doesn't get a respond back yet. She writes, I'm scared to drive because it's raining, so I just need to get him to get picked up. She hit send. Then she writes, if he doesn't get out of my car, I'm going to call my dad. Please tell him to get out. Then Christine Russo says, Hench is on his way, calm down please. Mackenzie says, by TBH. To be honest, I can't calm down when he just tried to end my life. Christine Russo says, I'm just trying to diffuse for now. I'm not mad at anyone. Mackenzie says, I don't feel safe. So here we start with this claim, right? Oh, sorry. We start with this claim where Mackenzie says that Dominic says he was going to grab her steering wheel and then try to spin out the car. Christine answered that Hench was on his way, and we have a different narrative. So that's not what went into court. That's why I can't find it on there, you guys. Oh my God, I just had a straight A stupid moment. I have Miss Russo. Oh my God. Dun, dun, dun. I have Miss Russo and Mackenzie's text messages, and I remembered that in the text messages was that segment, so I went in and found it from this is why I was like, why can't I find it? I had everything right here, and that's why I couldn't find it right away, you guys, because it's not in the court documents. I grabbed that from the text messages, which is in the evidence, between Mackenzie and Miss Russo. All right, let's see. What else do we have here? Hi, everyone. How's everybody doing? Hi, you guys. Come on in. Welcome in, everybody that's just joining. Hopefully everybody goes, hits the likes and subscribe. Good job, you guys. Oh, Just Say Lawyer. I've been watching for a bit now, and I'm so lost. I know the case, but question. Just Say Lawyer. So this is, I know, right? So this is the thing. What's up, Fate Formula? So what we're looking at here is Mackenzie's appeal, right? All right, this is the point. During the trial, and I'm not going to look at chat so I could get my thought out. During the trial, it was showed that on July 17th, about 2 weeks before the accident, that Mackenzie and Dom get into an argument where she's driving and she pulls over, and they call Miss Russo to come pick up Dominic off the side of the road. During the trial, it was testified to from Hench, the detective, and Miss Russo, so that's three people right there, that all testified, where if I was a juror, I would have thought, or the judge, whoever's listening to the evidence, heard that Mackenzie threatened to take Dom's life in that instance. And this is important to me because the prosecution says that this was one of the reasons, this was one of the things that made the prosecution get the narrative that this could have been intent. And that's why this is important for me, right? Because if there's intent was the big question here. So if they could show that the prosecution used this story to show, what do they call it? Prior bad acts? I don't know if that's what they call it in Ohio, but that's what we would call it here. I'm not in the lawyer field, so you would probably know, right? Hi, Neva. Then that would be a problem, because the evidence that I was just, talking about here is that text messages between Mackenzie and Miss Russo, where it talks about, can you come get Dom? He grabbed my steering wheel on the highway trying to spin out my car and hurt me. I'm scared to drive because it's raining. I just need to get him picked up. If he doesn't get out of my car, I'm calling my dad, so please tell him to get out. I can't calm down when he just tried to end my life. I don't feel safe. So, in other words, 3 people now testify, making it look like it was the opposite way. My thing is, first of all, why didn't the defense show those text messages, right? Even if the end result's the same, right? Isn't that the point of the law, is to make sure that all the facts get out there, and then to, you know what I mean? So I just feel like this wasn't even, they can't even say that this was, they paid for this lawyer. I don't know how much they paid, but they paid for this lawyer. So the fact that this lawyer didn't show anything to counter, that's the word I'm looking for, to counter the claim, is big, because now I feel like they then give the state that intent, right? Or those prior bad act. What if that prior bad act wasn't Mackenzie? And I don't know, maybe it doesn't change the ending, but it might have. If there were jurors, that might have, if they would have, would that, let's say they knew that it was going to come in, the text messages, which it never does, but let's say, which I don't know how, because all these other text messages come in. So, I mean, unless the judge read them and just didn't take it into account, I'm not sure. You could also make another argument, because the other argument is, so the argument on the prosecution side would be that even with these text messages showing that it was Dom that threatened to, crash the car that on the 17th of July, which was right before the accident, that even in that case, that it was Mackenzie gaslighting, that, it wouldn't really be him. So even if the text messages say that she had a way of steering the narrative to make her look like the victim. Now, for the longest time, I was like, oh, I don't know about all that, However, and this is just my personal opinion. This isn't to do with my education or anything. This part that I'm about to say is my personal opinion. When Plunder put out that video where she allegedly bumps into that couple and then peels off, and they go to her house, and she's like, you know, I'm not doing some, what does she call it, insurance fraud shit and stuff like that. And like here, Plunder was able to like locate or show her where that she was right, where the couple said that they were hit, but nothing ever happens because they weren't able to prove that she was the one that hit the couple. So, but in that, I watched her in real time switch the narrative. So I was like, it's almost like, you know, when you see somebody, it's like if somebody said that, I don't know, that Alexa talks about her friends every time they walk out of the room. If you were my daughter, I would be like, Alexa's talking about you when you walk out of the room too, I promise. Do you know what I mean? Alexa, not you, obviously. I just needed a name to go with. But does that make sense? Let me see what you guys are saying in the chat. Let me go back a little bit so that I can make sure I stay in a conversation with you guys. Let's see. Oh, Truth's here. Hey, Truth. All right, let's see. I think I went back too far. Okay. I put this. Oh, no, that's not about that. That's okay. Let me see. It looked like I missed something. So that's why I'm looking. Somebody, how about this? Do what Cuff you said, and if you have a question for me or if there's something that you want me to see, put like the fire emoji first so that I could, you know, I could look at it. That way I'm not wasting. I think about the people that are watching this on the replay. I don't want them to be like, come on. Hey, Michelle, how you doing? And Cuff you's here. Hey, friends, come on in. So anyway, when it comes to this case, you guys, what do you guys think about that? Was that important? Because doesn't that show intent? You know what I mean? I also have, hold on, let me grab something real quick. All right, here we go. Okay, I also have, I wrote something else down earlier that I feel like I wanted to say. All right, here we go. I found it. So, what did I write here? Oh, you guys, I was trying to get to the, oh, it's right there. Duh. Okay, so let me get my thought together real quick. I just don't know where to go next. I have so many things here. The problem with tonight's live is I over prepared. I have so much here that I think I went a little too far here, right? And I don't want to lose people in that sense. So let me see what I want to go to next. All right. Let's talk about, there's so much. I know what I could do real quick. Hold on, let me show you this. That way, I'm going to put on an interview real quick that we're going to listen to. So they talked about the interview there was a lot of interviews. I happen to have all of the interviews. I want us to listen real quick to part of the interview with Angelo Russo. And there's one with Christine Russo too. Both are kind of important, but let's do the Angelo Russo one real quick. And let me just reshare this. All right. Share. Come on. I'm trying to do too many things at once is the problem. All right, here we go. Let's share this. Got it. Okay, so this is the interview of Angela Russo. And a long time ago when I first uploaded this recording, it was like really low, so I was able to like make it louder somehow. So hopefully you guys are also going to hear it louder as well. Hopefully you'll let me know. But let's listen to it real quick.
29th at 14:37. So we talked to Mom last week, and some of the issues that we asked about, she said you might be able to shed some more light on. Mostly what I'm interested in, perhaps some of the things you might have seen or some of the things that Dominic confided in you about. Okay, we're not going to ask about anything else. It's at this point not pertinent to what we're doing. Okay. So my first question to you is, how long have you known Mackenzie?
She would have had to have been, I forget if she was in 8th or 9th grade when she met Dom. I think, I would say since she was in 9th grade. Okay. Like early 9th grade, I think that they did initially meet when she was in 8th grade. And then, but like, I think they just met as like, friends or whatever. The first time I was introduced to her is like, oh, whatever, this is like my girlfriend or whatever. It was like high school.
Gotcha. What was your relationship like with her? Did you talk to her?
In the earlier years.
So these are interesting and they are worth listening to. This one is a little bit low. So what I'm going to do is, JC Cat says, I still think the most likely scenario is she did it willfully in a fit of rage. I do too. I think it was impulsive. And I don't even know, in my opinion, you guys, if she knew that they were going to die or like had a death wish type thing. And this is just my opinion. I think it was just very impulsive. I think she reacted to something, obviously, right? And I don't even know that she thought of the consequences, of her actions, whether it be death, severe impairment, her, missing by real quick to like not show off, but like scare them type thing. I'm not sure exactly. So Heidi's right here. There is a lot here. We're not going to go over this whole thing. So Gen Pop Elbop is lurking. Welcome. I figure as we go through them, we'll know more than the jury would have. Absolutely. So let's listen to this for a second and see what he says. So in the beginning, he just talks about how he knew them a little bit. I'm going to go a little bit further.
Selfish path, like wouldn't like listen to me or take my advice, and even like
hold on. Let's see.
Even like the aspect of like it's better to have loved and lost and never like loved at all.
All right, now I'm going to go further.
Like singing together and stuff like that. We'd be in this room with the mic and all that.
All right, hold on. This is the good part. I'm gonna.
It'd be like a whole. Even that would be like a thing. You know what I mean?
Where was she living at the last 6 months or so?
Even like at times when like me and him, because Dom like making music and stuff. Mm-hmm. So every time like me, him, and his buddy Blair, we all like sing together and stuff like that. We'd be in this room with the mic and all that, making music, and she's just sleeping on the couch by herself. Like it's like, I don't know if that's like, I never really asked Dom like is she living here or anything, but she's definitely at his house way more than her own. Even
that was interesting. So Angelo's saying here that she was sleeping there way more than she was at her house, but that he never asked Dom if she was living there
at night times and stuff like that.
Do you know if she has any property at the house? Clothes, makeup, stuff like that?
Oh, yes, for sure.
Okay.
Yeah.
Still all there.
Yeah, I mean, obviously I went through that.
Anything. I haven't
Yeah.
been able to.
Oh, I got you, Heidi.
I did at one point want to gather her stuff up and do it. I just couldn't do it. I haven't been in there since I got his clothes for the funeral. I just mentally and emotionally can't do it. So
Has anyone else had access to the house?
Just me.
Just you two. Okay.
I haven't been there in like a month either, honestly. It's been,
Okay.
it's been hard for me, honestly, too.
Yeah.
But
Has her attorney reached out to you about the? Because they have reached out to me, and I said we're not getting involved in this.
Oh, to try to go over there?
Yeah, because they wanted her driver's license, and we said first. Her dad reached out to us a couple of times, and I said, at best, you can come request an escort. We'll call Miss Russo. If she says yes, we could arrange it. If she says no, we're done. And then last time when he was kind of getting under my skin, I said, no, we're not getting involved in this. And so he had his lawyer call me. And it was the old lawyer from Columbus. And I told him the exact same thing. I said, this is not a criminal matter. We're not getting in the middle of this civil stuff. Right now, emotions are high. The Russos are grieving. This is not the right time to get her driver's license. Yeah, I mean, it's just. So I know her DL is still in Dom's house.
What is that?
But why wouldn't anybody even say anything to me? And let me tell you, that rotten son of a bitch father of hers never said a freaking word to me. I bumped into them at the cemetery. Of course, my place I have to bump into them. And that bastard never even said, hello, how are you? I'm sorry. Nothing. Nothing. Radio silence. Not a word.
If it came to it, would you have a problem?
She said that son of a bitch father of hers. I was letting the dog out. I was like running back because I heard that. And I was like, oh my God. Hi, Sirius. He never said anything like sorry for your loss. What the fuck is wrong with him?
With us coming over and just taking some pictures of her things in there.
Or if you want to take fresh
you
pictures,
take them,
just get them to us.
or if you're okay to go in there
To
I
show
know
her
I'm-
living there.
Yeah, we really want to show
Makeup, what clothes does she have, like a jacket, or does she have like underwear and stuff where it establishes
toothbrush,
residence?
makeup, right?
She had clothes at my house, which, remember, I always maintained the room for Dom. His
Right.
own room, it's still there. But she had clothes at my house.
Okay.
I would be washing clothes, and I was washing her clothes. I can say that. And that was before he bought our big house, because he just could not sleep in the same house with Christopher. They just had a conflict, and
Right.
it just
Right.
stressed him out too much. So
Well, and it's kind of nice that it was right next door and he could just stay there and
right, and come over for breakfast and dinner and the whole bit. And
We preceding the
it's multiple
crash.
places, so you know.
So this is the part that I thought was going to be important that relates to what we were talking about too. So earlier in the live, I believe it was a wise woman stated or asked us about the residency laws. So we did talk about the residency laws. So he's trying to establish residency right here with Dominic's mom. And she not only confirms that Mackenzie stayed with Dominic, but that she also stayed with her on many occasions. So let's hear what she has to say.
I know there was purses in the back room, because when we were looking for his clothes and shoes.
I know the answer to that, so I want to just say, I could talk to Miss Russo all day long too, I hear you. So, oh wait, hold on. This is inappropriate for an interviewer. It does not play a part in the trial, so her dad is a jackass. LOL. Christopher, real quick. Who is Christopher? This is Dominic's brother. So, Miss Russo has 3 sons. They all lived with her at one point, right? And then Christopher, who struggles with mental health, which I think Christopher's amazing, from all the things that I've been able, like, he just seems very insightful. That's the word I'm looking for. He's very insightful, and I like that. But he has mental health struggles, and I believe Dominic struggles a little bit too, and she just said they struggle. They have a hard time getting along. She was fortunate enough as an attorney. I guess she has to be doing okay to have 2 houses next to each other, right? Or at least okay enough to have 2 houses next to each other. But she was fortunate enough to have the house next to her as well, which I believe Dominic paid rent to live in. So he wound up moving next door. But she said she still did like the wash and stuff like that, or not always, but like she would even get Mackenzie's wash, she says, in these court filings. and that he would come over to eat, stuff like that. So it was very much as though he was still part of the family dynamic. He just did so from the house next door. Again, this is important for the case because it establishes residency. One, not for nothing, but I always go back to, and this is just my personal opinion, but it also comes from a place, my academic background and things that I know developmentally, things like that. The Shirilla's parenting style was very permissive, and I mean, you could also argue that so was Mrs. Russo's parenting style was permissive, but Dom was also a 20-year-old. Do you know what I mean? So he was an adult, where Mackenzie was 17. So we need to take that into consideration. She was still in high school when she moves in with him. That's an issue, right? So her parents, but let's listen to this because they're still establishing residency.
That's when I brought it up, and then I would like I was ready to just take it and throw the stuff out. And then I said, well, I don't know where this came from. I don't know who gave it to her. And I just put everything back. So I have touched the stuff,
Yes,
but
okay.
I left it where I found
I
it.
got it.
And then, so at least in 2 rooms for sure.
Yeah, if you can maybe either take a recording of it or take pictures of it, we just want to be able to establish, hey,
She's
because
living
her
as an
dad
adult.
slipped of a tongue, and he's like, oh, she's like, no,
Something-
she just visited him.
No.
Something else too is I know this isn't like, I mean, obviously that you're gonna protect your own daughter in this like instance, but I had a buddy who like went and seen Kenzie in the hospital actually, and was like, how's it going, blah blah blah, and then as soon as something did come up about the crash, her mom like shut it down and said like, oh, we can't speak of any of that because of like legality matters.
I believe this. So just in case it sounds a little soft or whatever, Angelo just jumps in and says to the detective that he was told that when people went to go see Mackenzie, whenever they talked about the crash, that her mom jumped in and would say, we can't speak about this, legally. Well, if anybody's listened to any of the voicemails, right? Or not the voicemails, the jail calls. Natalie says that all the time. So I believe this. Not that I have any reason not to believe it, but I mean, I think that there is plenty to back that up.
There was a point in time where I was texting her mom directly about her daughter's problems, about like Kenzie's problems, saying like this and that. Like I remember at the time her parents were trying to give her antidepressants, okay? And she was armed. Like teenage girls, they have a lot of drama going on. And to me, to be honest, like her drama didn't seem any more than a normal teenage girl that just might be like a little high strung. You see what I'm saying? So,
Oh my God, Harlot, thank you. I'm so sorry, you guys. So Hench is a friend. Thank you, Harlot. A wise woman. Thank you. Because it wasn't glitching out, Casey. I was just muted because I'm a dumbass. Not a dumbass, but you know what I mean. Straight A stupid. I just had a moment. I thank you. I do apologize for that. Thank you so much. Oh, thank you. Thank you. Thank you. You guys are so nice. A wise woman again. I got the poopy. I love that one. I'm such a child. So Hench is Christopher too. Yes, but 2 different Christophers. So there's 2 Christophers. Hench and Christopher Russo, I guess, right? Dom's brother. Yes. And does anybody know, did Hench live there at some point? I don't know. I hope I'm not freezing up. Hold on, I think my Ethernet's on. Let me check. I think it's all working.
Thank you.
Oh, it says
Thank
it is.
you.
Thank you. Oh, Michelle's been a member for a month. Thank you. Thank you. Thank you, Michelle. I appreciate that. Michelle says that, yes, he did live in the basement. Now, in one of the jail calls, Mackenzie says to her mother, "That's a lie. That's a lie." She gets so mad. And the mother reminds her, "Mackenzie, it's been 2 years since you've been there." Right? So he could very well be living in the basement because Mackenzie was trying to say, "That's a lie. Miss Russo lives in the basement." In the jail call, Mackenzie's mom reminds her that, it's been 2 years since then. And Mackenzie says, "Oh yeah, I guess she could have, moved to Dom's room and given Hinch the basement, but I don't know. I don't know that it even really matters, but oh my God, Michelle. What? Yes. Yes, thank you. Oh my God, you just made my whole night. Thank you. I'm hearting it and liking it and all the things. Thank you. Oh my God, it doesn't matter. You could call me asshole if you want, whatever you want. You call me whatever you want, Michelle. You're good right now. You have at least 10 goods, right? Hey, Calissa. How you doing? Thank you. Wow. Oh, wow. I want to highlight you. Thank you. Holy mackerel. That was so generous. What's happening? What's happening to me? Thank you. Oh, Harlot, I got a makeup brush. Love me a makeup brush. I didn't use one very much today. Is Casey the only one that keeps freezing on us? You guys could be honest. If I'm freezing, we could figure it out. All right, here we go. I'm going to show you on stream because I want to highlight you. You get some freezes too, JC? Love bombing by chat. Love bombing. I am too, and I have refreshed. So let's do this. You guys see, this is why you have to tell me. It's no big deal. We can figure it out. Watch this. This is what we're going to do. We're all going to keep chatting in the chat. And ready? I'm going to be very daring. And I am going to refresh. I've seen other creators do this, so I beg you to stick in chat and just talk to each other for about 1 second, because we don't need it to keep doing that. And we're going to leave Michelle up there the whole time we do it. So with that being said, you guys hang on, and everybody in chat, remind each other not to go anywhere because we didn't hang up. I'm just refreshing so that we could get the best connection possible so we can keep going. It's only 11:30 and I don't have work tomorrow. So let's do this. And for anybody that's glitched out on, can one of my fabulous, fabulous mods let everybody know in chat just in case this glitched out on someone while I was saying it. I love you guys. All right, hold on. All right, let's see what happens. I don't know if that's going to fix it. You hear Looney Tunes. All right, I'm back. I did it. I did it. Let's see what happens. Fingers crossed. Well, let's just keep going and you guys let me know. I have to reconnect real quick though. Let's see. Let's reconnect. So if you're just joining us, thank you. And if you stayed here, thank you. And if I'm still glitching, let me know. Let's see. All systems go. I checked out the crime circus stuff. Grain of truth, maybe. Hard to defend anyone utterly unthinkable. It's funny you say this, JC. So let me say this. You guys are going to think this is crazy. Well, no, you're not. Whatever. I thought it was crazy that I remembered that crime circus is where I heard this case from. Okay. Oh my gosh, Michelle, you heard me from the YouTube streets? I love it over there. I need to go on with those guys somehow. Oh yeah, Queen. Thank you. Thank you. But yeah, so the crime circus stuff, that's how I heard about this case. So in the very beginning, because you guys know, right, when you first hit on something, you usually get the same type of algorithm. So I started to get things that were posing more, like crime circus stuff. And I believe he was the first to post the video of Tyler, her ex-boyfriend. So like he had that video. There was like quite a few things. So I agree with you. There'll be parts of truth, but then he distorts it by adding things like boom and stuff like that. Do you know what I mean? Does that make sense? It's much better now, Case. Good. Good, good, good. Oh, Case, your daughter's repeating things over and over and over. A long time ago, Heidi used to watch Crime Circus as well. So that's funny because I did too. So do you guys remember, even with some of the Idaho 4 stuff, I would watch some of his stuff. And then, yeah, I don't know. Hey, Fancy Nancy, better late than never. How you doing? I remember when he was more reliable. You know what? I do too. And not only that, do you guys remember, I feel like he would show like the same things on both of his channels or whatever. I don't know. And then I feel like he got very proud, if that makes sense. I think he was doing good work at one point, but then, like you guys said, there was like some shreds of truth amongst a bunch of other stuff. So we were listening to the interview with Dom's brother, Angelo. So I'm going to share this, and I'm going to put myself over here. Hi. Oh, I hope I'm not glitchy. Let's see. It's been a long day. Aw. Well, I hope it's a better day now that you're here. Travis, where the fuck have you been? Travis, we missed you over here. The king is in the building. Yes, poor Davion. I agree with you, poor Davion. You guys, JC, before I play this, you just made me think of something. I was listening to another interview. I can't remember exactly whose interview it was, but it told the story, which I was able to go find other things to corroborate this. But did anybody else hear that Mackenzie and Dom, so they get to this party, and then Mackenzie and Dom leave the party, and they go back to Dom's to pick up snacks, like to pick up, I think it was like popcorn or something. She wanted her like, her healthy snacks. So apparently they leave for like 20 minutes or so to go back to Dom's to pick up her snacks and then come back. Does that pose the question? Why wouldn't she do it then if it was premeditated? What do you guys think? Has anyone heard this? Because I was like, I was thinking about it and I'm like, wait, why wouldn't she do it then? So like that makes me think, in my opinion, that just validates my own opinion that I think this was probably something off the cuff. I don't know if I've heard it. Alexa, you've heard all the things in this case, so I give you a piece of homework. And see, I'm going to try to find Alexa. I'll try to think about where I heard that. I want to say it was Landon's interview. So Landon's interview. And do you guys know that you could go to the case file? Like it is, everybody has access to it. Not the transcripts, but the case files. So like if you go on the Strongsville police site or whatever, you can like listen to and look at a lot of the things. The problem is you have to download the stuff, and there's so much, and it takes so long. Or at least here it does. All right, let's keep going. So this is an interview with Dom's brother, Angelo.
She was on, I think it was Zoloft or Prozac, one of the two, I forget, for like, I was still in Florida when I talked to her about it, and that's one thing I didn't hear from him, but I wasn't in town.
Okay.
You know?
But you heard it from Hench that...
And he's alive and it has personal knowledge of that. So he's
I'm rewinding this part real quick because this has to do with Hench, and I'm going to slow it down to regular speed. Oh, it is on regular speed. Right. So this, they're going to talk about the crash. And now this is another person that is going to put out in the ether of what happened. And Sirius Black, you are amazing sending me 6767. The kids love 67. Does anybody even know what the hell that even means yet? Okay, so you hadn't heard that. But she didn't do it until after she found out he didn't remain by her side all night. Yes. Okay, JC points out that because I don't know if you guys heard that jail call. I'm going to have to go through my jail call list. I was in it so much at some point that like I could just turn to a page and I knew where everything was, but I need to go refresh my memory. But there is a jail call where she tells her mom, she's like, did you know Dom wasn't there the whole time, that at 4:00 he got up? Where was Dom? Well, that just makes me wonder, even more things. And I feel like she gets mad at him in that moment again, right? And almost she was ready to throw him under the bus. She's like, that makes me wonder like what he could have been doing, da 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 da. I'm like, what? Oh my God, Travis missed the whole 6-7 thing, you guys. Oh my God, you guys don't know what 6-7 is? But do you guys know what it is? I know that we don't know what it is, but did you guys hear 6-7? Like, was that a thing where you live? That was a big thing where I live. All the kids were like 6-7, 6-7. There's even a video of David doing and that was very grooming, in my opinion, by him doing the whole 6-7 thing in one of his videos, because that was a way that he was able to connect with that younger audience. But anyway, that's a different note, and I'm going to get back into David. But let's keep going.
And his name's Chris. Okay. And
Frenchman?
Yeah.
They already know. Okay. Yeah.
Well, it's in the text. They refer to
Okay,
it.
well then he called Hench and said, "Hey, can you come pick me up?" And Hench came and picked him up, and then I heard about it. I don't know if he even really. I was still in Florida when he passed.
Okay, and so
he
these
didn't
are
really-
two
he didn't really
different
talk to me
incidents,
about it,
right?
But I talked to Hench about it. I talked to her about it, and that's one thing I didn't hear from him. But I wasn't in town.
Okay,
Yeah.
but you heard it from Hench that.
And he's alive and it gives personal knowledge of that. So he's picked him up twice. I didn't know about that one when we interviewed.
Right. We just knew about yeah. Okay, so two. All right.
Probably
And
have to talk to
Hench picked him up from both of those.
Yes.
Wait,
Yeah,
Hench
we
picked
got
him
it.
up twice?
Yeah, because
Yeah.
remember the time that when I was gonna it was that Sunday when it was raining, you were in town. I was in the garage, had that testing the next day, and she was threatening to crash the car and kill them on the highway, and I had to have Hench go get them then in the pouring down rain in my car.
Is it the same situation? Am I just like mixing it up?
No, because she was driving. And this time Dom was driving.
Yeah, one time she was behind the wheel, and then the other time Dom was behind the wheel. We knew a lot about the one when she was behind the wheel. I don't think there's a whole lot that I've found yet.
Yeah,
in
I'm
her
pretty sure.
phone that talks about that one.
I heard it from someone else, so it has me questioning if I have my story mixed up. But no, I'm pretty sure I was told that he was driving.
Okay.
And he was.
That's okay. We'll clear it up with Hench.
Yeah, we can double check
Okay.
with Hench. See how.
He'll
I don't
talk
want to.
to us.
I don't want to give misinformation.
No, that's fine. That's not a problem. So let's go back to the whole breakup scenario. So we've established that Dominic, and from your firsthand knowledge, Mackenzie would threaten to hurt herself and Dominic should he broken up with her.
Yes.
And now we know, Dominic mentioned it to you that he plans on breaking up with her. Did he tell you?
I
How
might
did-
even be able to look at some text right now for about.
But it's Furlough can't do this shit.
Honestly,
anymore.
like it's heartbreaking to me because like the day before I went to Florida, which is the last time I seen him face to face, he was really just talking to me about about like how he can't keep letting Kenzie like run his life, but not even in an aspect like that. Like he said, like all right, for example, how I was saying how he can't go out with even me occasionally because she's upset about it and this and that. He said that she holds him back, and we were just talking about like traveling. Like I was saying like, hey, let's go on some vacations together, this and that. He was talking to me like just me and him, you know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
Let's go and let's go see some stuff and go like live it up. And I don't know. He was just telling me about how he wants to travel the world too, which has always been one of my dreams, to travel like the world, And like I think he was really honestly finally getting to the point to where like even if she was like saying, "Oh, I'm gonna hurt you," he would have like maybe even taken that chance, because it's been going on for like 2 years. It was really going on for like 2 years. Like they'd be good for like a month or two, like sometimes they'd have 2-3 fights in a week.
Have you ever seen them going at it, fighting?
Yes.
Maybe in the house.
Oh,
Can you
yeah.
describe what was it like?
She honestly, like, he'll be like, dude, he would be so nice and as accommodating as possible to stop the fight, and she'd be one of those people that is just petty. You know what I mean? Just to the fullest extent. He'd be like, "What's upsetting you? I'll fix it." And then she would just have some like slob comment. I don't.
All evidence of this too, where he stays calm a lot of the instances. There were a few times where we see that he flips out. Yes, Cuffy's birthday is going to be in 12 minutes. We'll have to sing happy birthday to her. Happy birthday to Cuffy, the most wonderful woman, most wonderful, almost 61-year-old I've ever met. This guy nailing it on her description. Oh, so this is the brother, so Dom's brother. I think one of the things, and I don't remember who exactly said it, but someone was just saying that, Dom very well could have believed that he never was going to get out of that relationship, right? And isn't that true of very DV cases where there's evidence? So this brings me back to what we were talking about with the car, right? About the incident before. And many other incidences before, whether it be that instance or the instance where they catch her, which we heard tonight of her at the house yelling, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, let me in type thing. And then even the text messages. I have a lot of lives where we went back and we read some of those text messages, and we got to the ones right before the crime, and we then went back and we started reading them from the beginning. I've happened to have read all of the text messages. For anybody that's read these text messages, and we'll do a whole live on it, that there is an escalation and a pattern there that we see often in domestic cases. So I think that this is important, so much so, because I know that there's a lot of you out there that are listening to this, and you've been there, or you've been somebody that that you've loved is a narcissist maybe. And I'm not diagnosing anything here, but we do see many narcissistic traits, more borderline traits than anything in my opinion, but they're still cluster B, and I don't want to get too off on a tangent with that. I did a whole live on that too, but this would say to me, so why is that important actually, now that that is actually important, the whole cluster B thing, because that says to me, and then we hear how Angelo describes it too, and I'll play a little bit more, we'll hear more of it, but we see a relationship here, and I'm going to do a whole live on this with triangulation. So whether it be Angelo, Miss Russo, Natalie, this couple often had someone else, or one of the friends, right? One of the many friends. Somebody was always triangulated with them. Not always, but most of the time there was somebody triangulated, at least that I could see, that I could identify. Not only that, there's evidence, I should find it real quick, where Natalie, who was she doing an interview with? We already went over it, so I won't do this. It was in her Chris Cuomo interview, and she talks about how, what did she say exactly? I don't want to misquote her. I don't know. I don't want to misquote her, but she talks about it there too. But you're going to see this over and over. Let me just keep going, but you'll see how these people will go on to, how her personality may hinder the perception of something like these text messages that are related to this incident in particular, but in other incidents that we see with the text messages, the cycle that we see from in the beginning where Mackenzie is very much, you see the attachment being created between Dom and Mackenzie throughout the text messages. I also was going through the evidence today, and like I said before, there is so many gigs of information. So many, you guys, like so many. So it didn't occur to me today that there was anything in there that I hadn't seen already, and I found a few things today that I hadn't seen already, and it was sparked me to go to look for them because of the transcripts that I have that I'm now reading. I'm like, oh wait, where was that at in the evidence? Because I know that everything in the transcripts, there's evidence that goes with it. So I went looking for a few things and was like, oh wow. So there has to be even more things that I still haven't even seen yet. Wait till you guys see how much stuff there is. But why is this important? Because Mackenzie's personality characteristics, could that perceive how other people interpret these text messages? That night, if Mackenzie, not if, we know for sure because I have them, that she says she texts Miss Russo and asks her to come get Dominic out of her car because he almost just tried to kill her. And then she continues a message with her about it and about how it's not okay. Then I believe it was the next day, continues a conversation with her about how if she doesn't, because Miss Russo says, stop lying to me, Mackenzie. So Miss Russo does call her out and says, stop lying to me, that that's not what happened, that she did not do that, whatever. And then Mackenzie doubles down and is like, oh yes, he very much did try to take my life. And Mackenzie says, he's never going to change if you don't let him know that this isn't okay, which I thought was very rich in that. And again, these weren't the exact words, but they're pretty close. the idea is the same. I thought that this was rich in the sense that Mackenzie does this, right? Don't I always talk about projection on this channel? So I feel like Mackenzie is accusing Miss Russo of doing something that she often does. So she's projecting onto her. So if Natalie and Steve would have held Mackenzie accountable, she might not, she might know better than to do some of these behaviors, just like she's telling Miss Russo. So again, why is that part important? Because it shows me that Mackenzie does have insight. Insight is a big thing, you guys. Think of somebody in your life right now. I want you to just do a real quick, I'm going to use Dr. John Matthias's term, a thought experiment. Let's do a thought experiment real quick. Wait, I just got, that was so off whatever that, I forget my exact point of that, but there was a point of that. Hold on, we were talking about projection. And, oh my God, what was the point of that? You guys, someone tell me. Oh yes, I said, someone gets really big points with me if they tell me what the fuck I was just talking about. Oh my God, we have 4 minutes. I have ADD so bad, you guys. Triangulation. Travis, you are the king. And insight, what's up? You're right. Insight. I was saying, that's it. Thank you. Insight, thank you. What's up? Travis, thank you too. Insight, that was definitely it. Insight. So insight, you guys, is the biggest thing. I want you to do a thought experiment right now. I want you to think of somebody in your life who is very insightful, meaning, let's make up a scenario. You get into an argument with someone and somebody hurts your feelings. Whether they intend to or not, they hurt your feelings, right? We have that one friend that gets the message and they're like, oh my gosh, I feel terrible. My intention when I said blah, 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 blah was not to hurt your feelings. What I meant was da, 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 da. I am so sorry that I said that. I did not mean, I was not trying to hurt you. I am so sorry you were hurt. That's an apology, right? What an apology is not is I'm sorry if what I said made you hurt your feelings or whatever, or got your feelings hurt. That is not an apology. But the first one was. So that's a very insightful friend. That friend thought about it and was reflected on the message and was oh wow, oh my gosh, I'm so sorry. That was not my intentions. This was my intention. I'm so sorry your feelings got hurt. Then you have that other friend that does not have insight, right? And that other friend might not have a personality disorder. They just might not have insight. So, and there's a difference. So this friend might, do that thing just say they're sorry because they know that they were in the wrong and that the only way they're going to move on from this uncomfortable feeling is if they just say sorry. So that's the friend that says oh, sorry if your feelings were hurt. What? What does that mean? That's blaming me for me feeling bad, right? It's not taking accountability, and that's the big thing here. When we lack insight, that, that's a whole different level of not being able to change, in my opinion, and from what I've seen academically, there's plenty of journals on this. Someone with insight has a really good chance of let's say cognitive behavioral therapy. Let's take that for an example. If I were, and I am not seeing you in cognitive behavioral therapy, let me put that out there because I'll have somebody out there that'll try to twist something I just said and write a story about it. That's a different story. Oh, we have 1 more minute. I put my alarm on. Cuff you. All right, 1 minute, you guys. We can't forget to sing happy birthday to Cuff You in 1 minute. I can't forget. But back to insight real quick, and I'll wrap that part up. We'll sing happy birthday to Cuff You and then go back to some of what the brother's saying if you guys are still up for it. But with insight, if you have that person in your life that is able to reflect and they're able to hold themselves accountable for their own behaviors, their words, their act, that's a good sign. That person has the ability to learn and they have the ability to change and to grow. If somebody lacks insight, on the other hand, then they're just not that deep. Like, they're not making those same connections. You know, they don't have that same, they're not making the same connections. Mackenzie here, the fact that happy birthday to you, happy birthday to you, happy birthday, dear Cuff you, happy birthday to you. I just realized you're going to get this about 20 seconds in, but just know that as soon as it turned 12 on the clock, I was the first person to say happy birthday to you, because at least I think I might have been. Happy birthday, Cuff you. I don't know why it's so important to me to be the first to say happy birthday to everyone, but happy birthday to you. You have been a blessing to us over here. You have been a blessing to me personally, and I thank you for all of your hard work and dedication and your support of me and our community. All of your work in Discord. So you guys, please give Cuff you a big happy birthday, and thank you out there for everything you do for us. I love you, Nug. You're a pivotal part of this channel. Happy mother effing birthday. Ooh, ooh, ooh. Happy birthday. Okay, back to insight. If you have somebody in your life with insight, that's a good sign. If not, not a good sign. Let's get back to this.
He's just like, I remember times him like expressing to me how frustrated that he was, saying, I do every single thing I can for this girl. I ask her, what's upsetting you? I'll make it better, this and that, blah, blah, blah. And she finds like any single thing just be mad at me about. You know what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Like, it's like, I witnessed it a lot too. Like, I don't know.
Did you ever see her hit him? Put her hands on him?
Her hit him?
Like, just go, or throw stuff at him, or?
No. Actually, now that you say that, I remember several times now, because my memory's getting jogged, that he would say, Mom, can you get Kenzie out? She's out of control. She's hit me. I do remember that.
Okay, my question here is, you guys, what do you think about this? So, your birthday just ended, Michelle? When was your birthday? What day was it? Was it like literally just like a minute ago? My daughter's birthday was the 19th. That's why I'm asking. And I'm the June 27th, so I start off our Cancer. What's your sign, you guys? Tell me your sign in the chat. I'm interested. I want to see how many Cancers we have out there too. Let's see. I'm a Cancer. Just now. Oh my God, Michelle, it was just your birthday. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday to you. Happy birthday, dear Michelle. Happy birthday to you. Mwah. Thank you for being part of this fabulous family that we've created here. Oh no, who's in Aries? Oh, just call me Heidi. I didn't mean that in a bad way when I said oh no. The way I said that made it sound like I meant like no. I didn't mean it like that. I just saw Aries and you... Wait, who else is in Aries? Harlot, you're in Aries. That's right. Harlot, when was your birthday? Wait, Heidi, when was your birthday? Everybody put your damn birthdays in the chat, please. I want to go back later and make a note of them. So if you wouldn't mind, could you guys put your birthdays in the chat? I know that I put Virgo, but really it's your actual birthday that I'm really interested in. I can figure out by the date what you are. You're very lovable. Travis is very lovable, you guys. Oh, Travis is a Leo. Your birthday was on the 13th, Tony. You're a Cancer. Wow, happy birthday. Alexa, you're right before me. Alexa, you're not a Cancer though, right? Aren't you a Gemini or no? I feel like I just start Cancer. Wow, you guys. Oh, cool. I'm so glad. Oh, you are a Cancer, Alexa. Nice. I love my Cancer friends. We're pretty awesome. Okay, JC Cat. So you are talking about Laura Mathias because that's who I'm talking about. So you love her. Oh, what did I miss? I need to go back. I'm not being like a Where was the thing that goes with? Oh, I love the girl, but her refusal to take any responsibility for her own emotional health is intolerable and dangerous to herself and anyone around her. Oh my God. So, let's talk about it real quick in case you want my opinion. I didn't mean to offend you, but if that's the case, we will never agree about that, but that's okay. You guys. Oh, distress tolerance, good one. Oh, Michelle, glad I ran into this case. Keeps me from reaching out. Monstrous as these types are, they can be very sweet on occasion. I'm trying to find where the first part of that is. So, okay, let's talk about it real quick. I don't know where the top part of that is. Oh, JC Cat doesn't know who Laura Mathias is, you guys. Oh. JC Cat, do yourself a favor. I mean, unless you have 9 hours that you want to watch a live for. Pretty much, JC Cat, we were all like, oh my gosh. You know what, though, you guys? Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Oh, crap. What the hell are you offended about now, Case? I'm just kidding. Hi, Andrea. There you go. Andrea's here. Oh, Bertie, you just turned 50? Happy birthday. I know Lauren, 9 out crying hours. Yes, what's up? So let me just, in case anybody doesn't know, we were just talking about Lauren Mathias. I think we thought that, you said, speaking of personality disorder. So Laura Mathias she does a show called Hidden True Crime, and I don't care if we give her a plug, but her husband is Dr. John Mathias. They're in their 50s, I'm thinking, right? They're in their 50s, and they have a son, who's about, how old's their son, like 10-ish? And long story short, Lauren is a journalist, and she was on TV a few times, like for the news. She did things here and there, but there's plenty of things you can listen to that tell her story, like including reading her book. I think Jays for Justice reads her book. It might be on her show though, Every Day with Jay. But anyway, if you go listen, she reads the whole story. But Lauren, she's like in love with love, this one. I don't know, just my opinion. But anyway, her and Dr. John meet. He is a clinical psychologist. She calls him a clinical and forensic psychologist and an adjunct psychologist or an adjunct professor and I don't know, all these other things. She has all these names. The reason she became not taboo, but like something in the news, she reports heavily on true crime. And I don't think that they did a bad job at first. Now when I watch some of it, I cringe. Dr. John does like a lot of thought experiments on like moral crusades and stuff, and he talks about like morally condemning people. The reason they're in the news is Lauren has been doing this journalistic stuff for many years. She makes one of these friends, Christine. Christine comes out, they meet each other, they do to a crime case together. I'm making this really long story really short. Eventually their friendship breaks up, and Christine feels very duped by Lauren and their friendship. She's like hurt. So she makes a TikTok on her account, does not say Lauren's name, just does a TikTok about how she's hurt or whatever. Well, at the time, I think her thing got up to 100 views before it took off, but Lauren had 300,000 followers, and this other woman, Christine, had 100 people like this video or watch it or something. It was very, they were not the same. But then Lauren brings attention to it and starts calling Christine a stalker, because everybody's saying that they're going to release text messages between Lauren and all these people that she talks bad about. Well, long story short, it sounds like a big drama fest, which it was. But Lauren goes and files a civil stalking injunction against this woman to get her to stop talking. And we found police videos where her and her husband are telling the cops that she needs to go to jail, and that the offense is 5 years for every offense if like she drops one of their text messages because they're private, but that's not what the law says. It was just a whole big thing, and people got so polarized on it. And I eventually weighed in because John is in psychology, the mental health field, and I just thought it was such an injustice to try to get a woman who's a mother of 4 arrested and jailed for 10 years because you think that she might in the future at a later date share a text message between her and your wife. It was bananas. Why is that case so important, and why does that remind people of Mackenzie in this case, like if it did? Because we see a lot of entitlement, right, between Lauren and Mackenzie. They both have this entitlement that they're entitled to this privacy, or that they're entitled to this, that, or the other. Even John, I think he feels entitled to have the police go and arrest this mother of 4 for their friend breakup. Yeah, I don't know. It was just a whole big thing. But then the son gets involved, the 9-year-old son, and it was just a whole thing. Lauren does a whole 9-hour live where she just bashes everyone and leaves it. It was a whole thing. And it was the thing that started my, I don't know what you want to call it, my case, you guys, of the person that I have that came after me. Somebody wound up coming after me because of my view that Lauren was wrong. And I always wonder if they're like friends with Lauren or something, if that's why I started, but that's a whole different story. Anyway, that was the whole Lauren thing, and I do think that it's relevant here because I do think that one of the common themes we saw it with, who else? What was her name? Corey Richins. We see that entitlement there. We see it with, what's the one that killed his parents? Reiner. Okay, we see it there. Where else do we see entitlement? Name some of the things, you guys. There's so many of them. I feel like entitlement is like a common theme or a common trait that we see in so many of these people that feel entitled to take someone else's life. Like, you know? So anyway, this is Angela. Let's keep going.
I never witnessed it.
And Miss Russo.
Say, just leave and go home.
There's multiple times, even pretty like recently before all this, that
she's watching.
Call her mom and stuff and say, hey, you need to come get Kenzie out of here. Like, she's refusing to leave my house. She's being crazy. And it'd be a situation where they'd be in a fight. Like, you know, keep in mind something stupid that she started. And he's like, listen, he's like, just go home. He's like, we'll hang out tomorrow. It'll be like a whole like new thing. Mm-hmm. He'd finally like get her out. She'd be the type, blah, 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 we're talking this shit out right now. You know what I mean? And it's like, dude, there's times where that happened and we were in the house hanging out with him. He's like, okay, you guys just gotta go home. You know what I mean? I gotta talk to her. And it's like, I don't know, just really everything behind it, the number one word for it is like selfish and self-centered. You know what I mean? Like, doesn't really know how to like go through arguments properly, doesn't know how to do stuff like healthily, wants to.
Would you attribute any of that to her age? What was there, 2 years between her and Dom?
Yeah.
When she was pretty young, 9th, 10th grade-ish, the unstable thing.
Earlier years, I just had more of a relationship with her as her big brother, so I just knew more of what was going on with her, like directly from her.
Yeah.
Okay? But her behavior never really got better. To me, it almost just got more drastic.
Okay.
Like before, when she was younger, 9th, 10th grade, she would go home when they were fighting or whatever, and then be texting him saying,
Thank you.
I'll hurt myself, blah, 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 blah. And then
Thank you.
Okay, please see now she's driving, she's 17, she's even older, you know, she's driving back over, she's banging on windows, like her behavior became more erratic, maybe also because she had more ways to let it out and to show that, you know what I mean, to come over or whatever. But no, if first there'd be like
So Angelo, have you ever been a passenger while she was driving?
Oh my gosh, I can no, never once.
Okay. Do you know anything about her driving? Anybody ever describe her driving to you?
I mean, she's told me. I've heard her say that she thinks she's a great driver. Larry told me that she's a terrible driver. No, never really like. I'd have to bring it up. I didn't really internalize it if I did have a convo about her driving. All I know is I never really wanted to get in the car with her, just because like not like saying like, oh, she's crazy and she'll crash the car on purpose or something. Like obviously I wasn't thinking that at the time, but just her high-strung anxiety, like she's just like a really high-strung person. I don't know if that's the kind of person I want to be in the car with. You know what I mean? She kind of like.
So they're just asking questions about getting in the car and stuff. So they already talked about the part with Hench, and I do want to kind of keep the live to what it is that I created it for, because there are so many topics that I want to make sure that we go over that have to do, with this case. So I just want to make sure that we stay and keep it within what we intended to do. With that being said, I found I had an outline, but I also had notes earlier, but I thought I deleted my notes, and I think I found them. Well, I did find them. So let me tell you what, excuse me, maybe this will help me with what it is that I am intending to say. So let me see. What I wrote here was, in the state's opening, in the juvenile probable cause hearing, which I have that we opened earlier, prosecutors told the judge that the investigators learned the relationship had become strained and volatile. Then they identified a prior incident on July 17th on Interstate 71 northbound from Strongsville. The prosecutor said that Dominic called his mother and said he was out of the car, needed help, and that Mackenzie was trying to wreck the vehicle. That's interesting. He was out of the car, but yet we hear that he was in the car somewhere else. The prosecutor said that Christopher Martin, known as Hench, was sent to pick Dominic up. According to the prosecution, Hench told detectives that while he was on the phone with Dominic, he heard Mackenzie say, "I'll crash this car right now." Okay? So this was entered into the testimony, okay? And it was in an interview. So at the probable cause hearing, Detective Jesus described what Christopher Martin reportedly told investigators. That was the first thing that I read you guys. The defense objected to layers of hearsay. The judge noted that hearsay was permitted in a probable cause stage. So I want us to make sure that we were accurate in our language. The transcript does not show Christopher Martin personally taking the stand in that hearing and being cross-examined about those exact words, okay? It was the investigator recounting what Martin's report was, right? Although he does eventually testify, I believe, in the trial. Somebody let me know if I'm wrong about that. But there is also an interview that they have with him. So, real quick, then I put here, the state did not present July 17th as a random argument, so they didn't show it just as like a prior bad act. In the opening, the prosecutor said that the incident carried the theme of the case. That's why I thought this was important. I'm so glad I found my notes, you guys, because I did not articulate this the way that I intended, because this is exactly what I'm trying to say. So in the opening, the prosecutor said that the incident carried the theme of the case, that Mackenzie was Dominic controlling and willing to use violence to control Dominic, in my opinion, right? And Casey, happy anniversary here. I think I said thank you. I'm not sure. Alexa said yes, he does testify at trial. Thank you for that. Okay, cool. So then I have here that the state paired the July 17th videos from 3 days later, which were the audio calls that we heard, remember? So the 3 that Dominic had. According to the opening, those recordings showed that Mackenzie was beating on the door, berating Dominic, breaking the doorknob, and threatening to damage Dom's car. this is a legal narrative, right, that they built. So a single incident becomes more persuasive when it's placed beside other incidents that appears to point in the same direction. So hopefully our lawyer is still here, any of the lawyers that are still here, but specifically our lovely, oh, Case, thank you. Sorry, I have ADD so bad, you guys. Thomas, are you here? I'm looking. Anyway, I'll see if you're here, if you write something. So, oh, here he goes. Travis, you're right here. Did I just say Thomas? I meant, I don't know why I just said C, you guys. The honest one is here. Oh, is there a dishonest one? Travis, is there a dishonest one? Give us the scoop. You're the only person that matters ever. You are the king. You said what the fuck? No, Travis, it wasn't that. I literally have all these things up and I read your name while I was reading somebody with the other name and just mixed it up and made it a different name. It wasn't that I didn't know your name. It was just an old person moment. And Ivy. Wow, thank you for my jewels. I got another 6-7, you guys. 6-7, 6-7. You said Casey was like, I was like, wait, who's Thomas? You guys, it is. There's nobody like Travis. I don't know why I said Thomas. You could call me asshole, call me whatever you want. I deserve it, Trav. I don't know why I just said that. You can, I don't know. Anyway, Travis. Now that you know that, you know what it is? I call you King so much too that I was just, I don't know. I'm sorry. But can you answer our question? What was my question? My question was, what was the question? I wrote, okay. So a single incident becomes more persuasive when it's placed beside other incidents that appear to point in the same direction. So that's building a narrative, and would that also be like showing prior bad acts? Is that why these things got in? Because they're the two things that I showed at the beginning of the live. If anyone missed it, don't go back now. But later on, you could go back. And we rewatched the three short, they're very short, but they're the three messages that were on Dominic's friend's phone, where Mackenzie's breaking the doorknob and all those things. Excuse me. And then this July 17th incident where the prosecution uses it as a prior bad act, showing that Mackenzie was going to take their life on July 17th, 2022, just a few days before this incident. Why didn't the defense debunk it, being that they had evidence to do so in the form of text messages? And since they didn't, and the prosecution was able to create a narrative, whether it be real or not. Again, if you look at on paper, it does not appear to be true. However, I could see how somebody can make an argument that she was gaslighting, if you will. I could see it either way. But if we're just looking at the facts, and I believe that in a court of law, facts are the only things that matter, right? So I believe in a case where facts matter, it would have mattered if that were my kid and they didn't show. I mean, not for nothing, but why didn't Natalie read these messages too? Like, I feel like I know that in law, and I learned this from Nancy Grace, but ignorance is not a defense in law. Like, you can't just be like, I didn't know that you can't rob a bank, my bad. Like, that is not a defense, right? So just because you don't know doesn't mean that it's okay to do a behavior. And I don't know about you guys, but I feel like Natalie, so much so, even now after learning everything she has, to this day, her very latest interview will say things like, I don't understand the law stuff. Like, I don't even care to understand. I don't know. Like, maybe you should. Maybe you should care to understand it. Maybe if you don't understand it, ask ChatGPT. Do something. Ask it to talk to you like you're a fifth grader. It'll do all kinds of shit, and it'll help you out. You know what I mean? You could even have it say, "Oh God," if you want. It'll literally tell you, and it'll be like, "Oh God," like whatever you want, but just get the information, Natalie, because by not educating yourself, and not for nothing, but when Mackenzie was in there and she saw for the first time the law library, she not only didn't know what it meant, but she asked Natalie what it was, and Natalie didn't understand what it was either. And I don't know if she ever has been to the law library on her iPad since. I don't know. She went on it for like 2 seconds and then was like, nah, I don't see my name, and logged off of it. Anyway, so back to this. Once investigators suspect intent, they may begin organizing ambiguous evidence around that hypothesis. Thank you. Oh, Ivy the poop. Yes. Yes. I think that is the cutest gold poop ever. Travis says, it's supposed to be facts. However, you have to use emotion with limits of the rules. Emotion is a powerful motivator. Oh, yes, you are correct. I see what you're saying. And I think about like opening and closing statements where lawyers, what about in, the one that looks like Truth. Casey Anthony. Yes, Truth. Casey Anthony look quite similar. But in that case, do you guys remember Jose Baez, what he said about George, the dad? Like, why was that allowed? Wouldn't that, why was that allowed, Trav? Because didn't they, that, kind of ruined his reputation, for the longest time. And I'm sure there's still people today that still think George did that or question it. That's terrible. Hi, I am, what are you saying? I don't know why I just said hi, Ivy. You've been here, Queen. It's just like you guys, just forgive me. What's up, what are you saying? Andrea's still here. I love you guys. Okay, let's keep going. What I wrote here is, I wrote about confirmation bias. So this part is important to me. So pay attention to this real quick. Ready? So I just talked about legal narratives and how they're built. But this is where confirmation bias can become part of the case. So in my opinion, once investigators suspect intent, so the minute, whether it was Dom's mom, whether it was something they saw in the evidence, whatever it was, whether it was the Life 360, whatever, but there was something once, in my opinion, once the investigator suspected intent, whether you mean to or not, we tend to organize ambiguous evidence around that hypothesis. That in itself is confirmation bias. So it doesn't mean that your hypothesis is wrong. It just means that we should test it rather than merely admire how, neatly it fits your educated guess, if you will. Does that make sense, you guys? And then over here, the next big note that I wrote for myself was Mackenzie's own text to Dominic's mother. So we did go over this as well. What I wrote here was Mackenzie wrote that Dominic had grabbed the steering wheel on the highway and tried to spin out the car. She said it was raining, that she was scared, and that she needed someone to pick him up. She threatened to call her dad if Dominic did not get out of the vehicle. Later in the exchange, she said that Christine did not know how Dominic treated her behind closed doors. And then she wrote, it's never okay to try and end somebody's life. Okay, so Mackenzie's account here, you guys, is that he grabbed the wheel. He grabbed the wheel. And she writes this in the contemporaneous messages. So they were created during or immediately after the conflict, not years later, not after the conviction, at the time. So before, before July 31st ever happened. So this occurs already. These messages were already written. So contemporaneous evidence is often valuable because it's less vulnerable to ordinary memory decay, but it's not automatically truthful. People can distort, exaggerate, or omit or frame events strategically in real time. So the correct question isn't where the texts were written that day, right? Because they were. The question is, what do the texts establish? What do they say? At a minimum, they establish that a serious vehicle conflict occurred. Remember, I said that before. Whether she does it, he does it, whatever the case may be, it now becomes a vehicle conflict. It becomes something part of their thought process, something that becomes an option at a later date, whether you're consciously aware of it or thinking about it. So whether it's done on purpose or not, it's done, and now she needs to pay the consequences, right? But again, it does go to the it does go to intent, and if you take intent out, does it then make it a lesser crime? And I think that's important too. And I don't know the answer to that, but I do think that, you know, it's something that we should want for everybody, is that everybody gets a fair trial, and whatever happens in the end happens in the end. So if that means, you know, she gets convicted of what she's convicted of right now again, and then that too. But I do feel like all the evidence was not out there. So I also wrote here that at a minimum, they established that a serious vehicle conflict occurred, that both sides were communicating with Dominic's family, that Mackenzie was presenting herself as endangered, and that Christine did not simply accept her version. So think about that. Dom's mom didn't just accept her version. She wasn't like, oh my God, Mackenzie, I can't believe he did that. I'm so sorry. Pull over. I'm on the way. So that's interesting. So Christine's Russo, what was her role in this exchange? So her responses are psychologically important, in my opinion. She appears to be trying to calm the situation. She sends Hench to retrieve Dominic, to separate the couple and determine whose version she believes. So we have triangulation here again. At point, she challenges Mackenzie, tells her to stop fighting and lying. So eventually you'll see that if you read the text messages, and says Dominic never put his hands on her. At another point, she acknowledges that no one should touch anyone and that there should be no fighting in a car. This is not neutral observational standing outside of the relationship. We're talking about Dom's mom here, you guys. She's already embedded in the system. She's already receiving competing emergency narratives in real time. He says one thing to her, Mackenzie says something else. The thing is, we're not talking about, you know, who ate the last lollipop. Like, we're talking about a very dangerous, life-threatening situation. Like, this stuff is really important to understand. So this doesn't make her dishonest. I'm not saying that. It means that her role, loyalties, prior experiences, and emotional investment all matter when we evaluate the exchange. So let me say that again. Her role, loyalties, prior experiences, and emotional investment. Okay, they're all things that we have to take into consideration. The next thing that I have here were about the family systems. The couple was never just a couple, in my opinion, speaking of Dom and Mackenzie. So one of the strongest patterns across the messages, and we're going to do a whole live on this like type thing, is that Mackenzie and Dom did not manage conflict within the couple. Their families, and especially Christine Russo and Natalie Shirilla, were repeatedly pulled into the relationship. So triangulation is my next big point. In a family systems language, triangulation occurs when tension between two people is managed by drawing in a third person. Okay, so by drawing in a third person. Let me see real quick if I could throw something on in the background that you guys could be looking at while I give you my notes here, because I do think that it's important to say these notes because, well, I just think they're important, but, you know, for obvious reasons. Let me show you what I found, you guys. Do you want to know what I found? I found a drone footage. Let's see if I could pull up the drone footage, and then that way there's no sound on that, but you guys could at least be looking at something while I'm speaking. Oh, who was that? What just happened? Oh, wait, what are you guys saying? I really think we'd have proof if that happened. Oh, wait, if what happened? Let me go back a little bit. I think it was impulsive. Me too. Okay. A wise woman says, I don't think Mackenzie ever thought about life as it applies to anyone besides herself. And yep. Do you think Mackenzie was in the heat of an argument and didn't give any thought to what life really means? Yes. And also you guys are saying hit like, please hit like. Yes. Very controlling. I agree with that too. So what are you saying? This is what I would say. in my opinion, and this is just Jamie Vona type opinion, this isn't based on anything but that, and based on all the things that I've seen, right? Being a mom and all the things. In my opinion, it's most likely that, and I'm curious, I don't know what the argument was about. Something upsets her in the car, in my opinion. Something to the point of where she thinks that, speeding and putting their life at risk was okay. I don't know if and I don't know that it matters, so let me say that first. But I don't even know if she thought about the consequences of what she was doing. She tells her mom at a later date in one of the jail calls, and I thought this was interesting. And again, why is this interesting? Before I say it, because it winds up putting it in the thought process, just like the thought of, what happened on the 17th. She tells her mom in a jail call that she was mad that they didn't have Kendra go up there and testify, because Kendra could have testified, her friend, that there was a time when they were in the car and Dom gets mad at Mackenzie, allegedly, this is according to Mackenzie, that she drops a blunt that they're smoking in the car, and he gets mad and doesn't want her to burn the rug. So he starts getting upset with her, and he starts driving really fast, according to Mackenzie, so that he could scare her. And her friend was in the car at the time. And Mackenzie says to her mom, I can't believe he would do that with her in the car, da-da-da-da. It wasn't lost on me, right, that Mackenzie's then in the car with him and his friend, and could she have been doing something similar to him? Because again, it's something that he allegedly has already done, according to Mackenzie. So could she have been doing that and just going so fast that she loses control or doesn't realize the speed she's going? And again, I don't mean that as to take her away from blame. I'm saying just as in somebody who's going really fast and doesn't realize, how fast it is that they're going. So I don't know what you guys think about that. I'd be curious to see what you guys think. Let me see if this will play, and then I will share it with you guys. Come on. Play the video. If not, I have another one. Alright, let me open this one since that one wants to give me trouble. Crash scene. Is this one it? I could have sworn it was the drone footage, but that's okay. Oh. Oh yeah, I don't want to put that one up there. Hold on, you guys. There was one. It's like a whole thing of, it's like a folder of Davion that I never saw. And, I don't know how important it was, but I learned a little bit more about him by looking at it, so I thought that was interesting. All right, let me see what I have here. Let's look at, where are you? I was trying to put something on in the background. Oh, here you go. I got something I could put on in the background. Let's put this one in the background. No, this is only 3 minutes. That's not going to go very long. Let me see if I have a longer one than that. If not, I'll just put it on. So, this is so unbelievable to me. I might just put this one on. You guys are so amazing.
Recording.
Oh, recording. All right, maybe I will put this one on. And then we can always just change it after. Wait, what am I showing in the live? Hold on. I'll show it in the live in 1 second. Let me just put this one in the background. All right. Oh, where did you go? Oh my God, you guys. Yeah, I got you, girl. I'm going to look at it in 1 second. I'm just trying to put something on in the background. so that I have something up while we're doing that, but I got you. Don't worry. I got this. So what I found was, while I pulled that up, there was drone footage, which I have. Oh, here it goes. I think this is it. I found it. I'm going to put this drone footage up in the background. And then that Alameda, what is it? Alameda Drive and something or other, but you guys will see in 1 second. Let me show you. Oh, come on. Just pull up the damn thing. All right, it's going to show the file, and now I have to click on it. Come on. All right, now it's opening up. But you guys, there's so much stuff. So there's like north, south, east, west type thing, but they're all the same thing. So I'm just going to put this one on. Oh, come on. Share screen. All right, here we go. I think I got it. Just have to be 10% smarter than the drone footage. I think we got it. Here we go. All right, and then I'll have that on, and then I'll go look at what you just sent me, Cuffio. I just want to put something on in that background. Oh, why is it taking so long? Anyway, this is the drone footage. What it does is it goes from the corner where they make the right on the road. One of the things that I got from this drone footage, and eventually, because it goes on, it's like a 6-minute drone footage thing, but it just goes down that street, and so it kind of goes slow. I sped it up a few times longer than I ever thought it was. So I'm going to keep this drone footage on in the background. And if anybody has any questions or comments about it, just let me know. But we'll have that one. That way, at least we have something in the background. And then this is what I'm going to do. And Cuffy, I didn't forget about you. Don't worry. I'm here. So what I'm going to do is, while we have this on, oh no, that's not. What I wanted. Everything's going so slow. Oh, there we go. All right, so this is the drone footage, and it's going to go over the whole thing. Now I'm going to look up, while that's on, what Cuffy's talking about. And this is the direct path, again, if you're just watching, that they took. And Cuffy, email it to me again. I don't see anything. I don't see anything. Try to resend it if you get that. And I will look out for it. Okay, so back to why I wait for that. So apparently the wonderful Sirius made something, and I want to share it. Cuff, you sharing it with me right now. I'm just waiting for it to come through. And I'm getting a drink because I am so damn thirsty. Oh my gosh. Oh my gosh, you guys. I feel so bad for Gianna. AJ just went to China for 3 weeks. Well, he leaves in like an hour. All right, you send it again? Got it this time. All right, let me see. And then I'll share it. Let's see what it is. Oh my God. I love this. Hold on, we'll share it. Let me download it so I don't have to pull up your email. So cute. Let's share it. So this is for Cuffy's birthday. Sirius made this for Cuffy. Where are you? Oh my God. Here we go. So this is for Cuffy's birthday, everybody. It's Cuffy's birthday if you're just joining us. So everyone, please say happy birthday to the beautiful Cuffy. And this is from Sirius Black. And here it is. Yeah, I got it. It's fine. So it just takes a second. We're working on that old computer here. Oh, love you. I'll see you later. You're welcome. Be careful, you guys. Okay. Be careful. Okay, sorry. Ava was taking Fiona home. Okay, so let me reshare the body cam video. If it comes up. Ah, where did you go, body cam video? No. Not body cam. Oh, you guys, what did I do? Alright, I'm just going to go back to it again because I have it right here. Alright, here we go. Let me put this back on again real quick. This is the drone footage, and then I'm going to go over the last of my notes that I have here. Hopefully I can find them again. Let's see, let me just pull them up. I accidentally closed out everything, but it's okay. Let's see. Here it goes. I got it back. Got it back. All right. Here we go. And it should be coming up now to the crash. Why isn't it coming up yet? All right, let me hit open. It should be opening, and then I'm going to pay attention real quick to my notes so that I could get these done because it is 12:48 and I don't want to keep you guys here later than you have to be. Come here, Thor. Thor boy. Come here, buddy. Okay, so why that's coming up, I'm just going to keep going because my computer's just really slow. It's just not responding. It's like, girl, you're doing too much. Oh, and I'm not even on. I thought I was on. I'm not even on. Here we go. Sorry about that. My video has been enabled. Oh, well, that's funny because no, it hasn't. It told me, oh, yes, it has. I lied. Okay, hold on. It just took a sec. Let me make sure you guys are connected. I'm just going to stop being so touchy. I'm doing it so, like, click, click, click. And it's not helping me. All right, here we go. Media player, share this. Share. Let's see what happens. Keep our fingers crossed. Oh, there we go. I think we got it. Boom. It's loading, but it's coming. Boom. So here we go. I'm going to not touch anything right now, you guys. Not because I don't love you, but because my computer is like at the end of its whatever today, and I don't want to mess anything else up. So if we want to keep our live going for another little bit, I gotta just not touch it for a second. Okay, so good. Now at least we have something on that you guys could look at while I'm telling you the rest of what it is that I wanted to say about this stuff related to this, not to this footage here. I just have this footage on just to show us something while I do this, so that I could just go over a couple things. So this next thing that I have real quick, hold on. I was talking about triangulation. So the text show Mackenzie contacting Christine when Dominic was angry, emotionally distressed, threatening to harm himself, refusing contact, or behaving unpredictably. Christine sometimes reassures Mackenzie, sometimes minimizes Dominic's behavior, and then sometimes defends him. Sometimes she told Mackenzie to leave or to respect his space. The system in which the mother becomes part mediator, part emergency dispatcher, part defender, part witness, and eventually part historian of the relationship. Same thing with Natalie. So this isn't just Miss Russo. This is also with Natalie Shirilla as well. Natalie even tells us in an interview or two that one of her favorite things to do was to help them with their conflicts in their relationship to grow as a couple. You should never be the person that gets involved in your kid's relationship like that. Now, if there's something that your kid and, their loved one's going through and you're like there and you can, I don't know, pull somebody aside and be like, look, I was just I'm not saying that you can't get involved in that way. What I'm saying is that these people were purposely pulled into these situations, but I feel like it was like expected at some point. Like it happened often enough. If you guys look at the transcripts of the text messages. So the problem with triangulation in this sense is that it can stabilize the dysfunctional relationship just enough to keep it going. So think about that too, right? Oh, who was that? Happy Poop, love it. Joanne's here. What's up, Joanne? How you doing? Now we're whole because we got Joanne here. Thank you for my Happy Poop. I love the happy gold poop. It's so cute. Thank you so much, Joanne. That was so very generous of you. So you guys, again, I want you to listen to the problem for me with triangulation in this sense. When you are jumping in to save these situations, could you be saving a relationship that isn't worth saving? And can you, being somebody that's jumping in to save this relationship so much, give the impression to the child that this is a relationship that is okay to have, and that, fighting this much and growing from it is not only normal, but a part of a relationship? Like, this obviously was normalized, in my opinion, to some extent, and shouldn't have been. So this creates a system in which the mother becomes the part mediator. So the problem with chronic triangulation is that it can stabilize a dysfunctional relationship just enough to keep it going. The third person repeatedly absorbs the crisis. The couple reunites and the deeper pattern remains unchanged. This may help explain a question the defense later raises. If July 17th was understood as an unmistakable attempted vehicle attack, why did Dominic continue getting into a car with Mackenzie? And why did the family continue to allow her to be around? And that poses a good question, right? Like, if Dom's family believed that she tried to take his life that day on September 17th, why was she still allowed to stay there, right? That would be an important question to pose. One possible answer is that the people involved did not interpret the incident then the way that prosecutors interpreted it later. Another is that unhealthy relationships often continue despite serious warning signs. Those two explanations are not mutually exclusive, so I do want to say that. Have you ever watched a family repeatedly rescue a couple from the same conflict without the relationship actually changing? That pattern is exhausting and dangerous. So I think that's another point here to be made. If you're jumping in, like let's say your daughter and husband or whatever, I'm making this up, but let's say they have a conflict and you're there or something, or they come to you for advice. I'm not saying don't give it, you absolutely do. But if they come to you for advice, you can help without getting completely involved. And the other thing is this, there's times where you can get involved and it would make sense to get involved. My distinction would be this. If you jump in and you get involved, right, in a situation, if things then change, if people then change, if somebody's like, oh, wow, I never thought of it that way, like, and they make, they use that as a way to change, then that's different. What was happening here was that it just kept saving, in my opinion, a dysfunctional relationship enough to continue or to be seen as okay. And that poses a problem for me. Back to this, July 17th thing about tonight's live, the competing narratives here and the thought of coercive control. So we need to deal with one of the most abusive phrases in internet true crime, toxic relationship. Mackenzie's parents to this day still say they didn't have a toxic relationship. You guys, come on. I don't think it takes, you don't have to be right there to be part of or to see that it was a toxic relationship, in my opinion. So calling a relationship toxic, here, I'm going to rewind that a little bit just so we have something up there. So calling your relationship toxic may be descriptive, but it doesn't tell us who has the power, whether the aggression is symmetrical, so is it the same on both sides, whether one person was reacting defensively, whether both use coercive tactics, or whether the pattern changed over time. So we have to think about those things. Conflict does not equal mutual abuse. Let me say that again. Conflict does not equal mutual abuse. High conflict is not automatically mutual abuse. Two people may argue intensely while one person has substantially more coercive power. On the other hand, a relationship may contain reciprocal aggression, threats, surveillance, retaliation, and manipulation. The record here contains allegations pointing in both directions. The prosecution emphasized Mackenzie's threats, physical aggression, property damage, and control. Mackenzie's text described willing to blackmail or expose her. Our job is not to flatten those claims into they were both bad. Our job's to ask what each source proves, whether there is cooperation, and what behavior occurred closest to the time of the fatal event. Also, I want you to think of things like who was attempting to control who. What methods were their behavior? For example, Mackenzie would threaten to call the cops on Dom often, and that was often an easy way for her to get him to comply with whatever it was she was trying to get him to comply with. What happened when one person tries to leave or create distance? We saw that too, right? It seemed impossible. Someone in chat tonight said it was almost impossible, or Dom might have felt like it was almost impossible. Whose version is independently corroborated by messages, recordings, witnesses, or physical evidence? All of these things are going to help us to understand. So the framework, it matters because the state's theory depends heavily on Dominic wanting out and Mackenzie responding to the threat of separation with escalating control. Detective Hanzu testified that Angelo Russo described the relationship as taking an unhealthy course during fights and said that Dominic had attempted to end on multiple occasions in July that he tried to end the relationship. Just in case anybody wants to know where I got this from, this is from the bindover transcript, volume 2, page 285 to 287. The next part I have is how, you guys, I do so much work, and right before this live tonight, I thought that I accidentally deleted all this, and so I had like an outline of where I was going tonight, but I like it so much better when I have the notes that I write as I do my research. So I am so grateful that I was able to recover this in time. So the next part I have real quick is how the prosecution used July 17th to prove intent. And this is going to bring all of this in, okay? The July 17th incident mattered legally because the state was not satisfied with proving reckless driving. Prosecutors argued purposeful murder and prior calculation and design. You guys, that changes so much here. In closing, at the bindover hearing, the state argued that planning did not begin only when the Camry turned onto Progress Drive. They argued that the timeline actually began earlier in July with the prior threat, the deteriorated relationship, and Dom's attempts to end it. The prosecution paired that relationship evidence with the driving sequence, a controlled turn, the use of a blinker, a straight industrial roadway, sustained acceleration, and no evidence of braking before the impact. However, when you do further examination, you'll see that they have two pieces in the evidence box. One says no braking, and then there's another file that says braking, and they have evidence of both, which I thought was quite interesting, because they only go with the one, right, that there was no braking. So I'll have to show you guys that at some point. So the next thing I have here is that neither one of them, so braking or not braking, neither one of them necessarily proves, which way it went. But the state argued that there was a circumstantial case here, and circumstantial evidence is not inferior evidence. Many intentional acts occur without confession or an eyewitness inside the room, or in this case, inside the can be coherent and still omit facts that point in another direction. One of the other things I have here is the defense's response or lack thereof. If he believed, why did he get back in? So they did not say, here goes evidence to show that that's not what happened, that he was the one that threatened her life that day. But instead, they just go, they try to they try to redirect by asking questions like, well, if she did do this, which I think is a good question to ask, if he really thought that his life was in danger. The truth is everybody knows it's not that easy. I mean, how many times do people get back in when they shouldn't in a relationship, and for many reasons? And we've talked about this before. Everything from I think the biggest thing that we see often is that the person that provides the biggest threat is usually the same person that provides the biggest sense of security as well. And I think that is compelling. Something else that I'm going to play real quick. Let's see. Just have something on the background. I'm just going to put another video on. If I could find a quick one here. You guys, there is so much evidence, I'm telling you, that I didn't even realize. Like, there is an abundance of just so much evidence here. So let me see. Let me show you. Oh, let me show you the no braking thing. And the braking. I found it. Alright, let's see. Share. It's wild. Alright, this one says no braking. Alright, it should share. Okay, here we go. So there's the file. This first one is the file that says no braking. So when you click on this, and I can get closer and stuff, this is from the evidence. But let me show you what they did. But they had whoever put this together do it with and without. All right, media. Here we go. Hold on. Here we go. I don't know if there's audio to it. I guess we'll find out. But this is the car right here. So if you guys could see the lights right there. Why would they say no brake? All right, well, they have that one labeled as no brake. Now let me show you the other one. Let me show you the braking one that they have. So then the very next file, look at this real quick. All right, the one that says brake, when we look at this, let's hit. No, we don't really need that volume. Oh, come on, I didn't want the volume. All right, that was crazy music. But they have music just looping, and they just keep looping around, and they show you here that she hits the brake. But you guys, look at this real quick. Let's pause this. All right, hold on. I'm actually going to go out of that and just go to it as a picture, so I could show you my point. Oh my gosh, stop. All right, there we go. All right, let's go in. Wait, let me see. All right, so the one that says braking, I'm trying to make it bigger. Maybe if I hit exit slideshow and go out this way. All right, here we go. So look at this, you guys. This shows her braking right at the sign. Oh, come on, just show it. Darn it. I should just stop doing this and read my last time. All right, here we go. All right, so this one's braking. And I'm going to zoom in so you guys could see. It's coming. Here it comes. Okay, so you guys, look at this. That's pretty compelling. It looks like she's braking. I did not realize that they had a picture so close. That's legit right before she hits the sign. I don't even know if I could stop it and get that close. But look, you guys, you see she went around the stop sign because the stop sign isn't it there? Here, let's see. There we go. You guys, look at this. That's the sign she hits. And they literally show it. Doesn't it look like right here? I don't know. I feel like it looks like it goes more into the sign, like front on, than what I thought. I think I thought it caught more. I just remember where I saw the braking brake. Remember we did a whole thing on it on Daniel's live. So we did do that too. So I just thought that was interesting. But yeah, so I'm gonna miss it on you guys. So in this next part, real quick, the defense characterized the couple as young people who fought. And okay, so this is the defense's response. So the defense attacked the state's use of the July 17th directly. Counsel argued that if Dominic truly believed Mackenzie intended to crash and kill him, why did he continue to get into the car with her the day that day and days after. Why did the Russo family continue allowing Mackenzie in the home? The defense characterized the couple as young people who fought and behaved inappropriately, but argued the evidence did not establish a plan to kill. The defense also emphasized the absence of a suicide note or evidence that Mackenzie intended to die, arguing that purposeful acceleration into a building would also place her own life at obvious risk. That argument forces an important psychological question. Do people consistently avoid partners after genuinely after a genuinely frightening threat? I want you guys to answer that if you can. Oh, my, not one here. Wait, hold on. Come on. Oh, I have it on Spotlight, that's why. There I go. Hi, guys. I'm there. I was there. Actually, I'm going to do the exhausting of being on the screen the whole time. I always feel like people are looking at me like I'm crazy. Oh, starting to act up. All right, I'm there for now. So let's see. Go back to normal. Why do most abused people not leave? A wise woman asks. And I don't know how far back that is, but I will tell you this. People don't leave a wise woman because the person that abuses them the most security, and so they wind up being, so as much as abuse as they offer, they usually also offer a sense of security and a sense of knowing what to expect. Even, think about how unpredictable getting up and leaving would be too. And it's dangerous. It's when people are most likely retaliated against. It's when they're most in danger. But most of the time, victims don't leave. Also, a lot of times too, because the whole cycle, it doesn't just start overnight. It builds up. So people start to get isolated from family members and friends. There's just a whole process. There's a love bombing process. There's a I'm so sorry, that'll never happen again thing. There's just a whole cycle. But I think, in my opinion, above even just that cycle is that there's a confusing attachment. One part of the attachment is scared to death, and the other part of the attachment feels secure with this person, feels safe with this person. And then there's also a cognitive distortion of being so afraid of not knowing what to expect if I leave, even, so this is important, even if staying is life-threatening. In many situations, the victim will say, that knowing what to expect, like at least knowing what, the expectation that also comforted them or kept them from leaving. So there's just many reasons, but everybody's case is a little bit different. But they're the things that I see most often. Start to wrap this up. I have hindsight bias, so the incidents before and after the death. So hindsight, you guys, this is a bias that can occur because things could be more predictable after they happen. So after July 31st, the alleged statement, "I'll crash this car," looks prophetic. It becomes almost impossible to hear it as ordinary reckless language in a chaotic argument. Before July 31st, however, the people involved continued interacting. The couple remained connected. The family system continued mediating. That suggests that the threat may not have been treated as a literal preview of a homicide that was about to occur at that time. So again, that doesn't mean that it's harmless. It means that the later death changed the meaning assigned to the earlier incident, right? So investigators, prosecutors, family, viewers, and even witnesses may all reconstruct the past around a known outcome. This is normal. This is how we human beings process information. It's not a sign of deception. The ethical challenge is to take the prior warning seriously without pretending the future was obvious. So we can't say just because these things happened in the past that there's definitely going to be a detrimental future. However, we can say that there were red flags. So let's talk 1 second about what the texts do and do not prove that we talked about. So it did show that there's a conflict around, July 17th. It shows that Mackenzie sought Dominic's removal of the car. She accused Dominic of grabbing the steering wheel and endangering her. Christine Russo was actively involved in managing the crisis that day. The parties disagreed sharply over who was lying and who initiated physical danger, and the relationship had blurred boundaries and repeated family intervention. And then what the texts alone do not establish for us: which person physically grabbed the wheel first. We don't know. We don't know whether Mackenzie made the exact threat reported by Christopher Martin. We don't know whether the account, which was Hench, we don't know whether the account was fully truthful, whether Mackenzie formed a plan of anything on July 17th. We don't know whether the fatal crash on the 31st was accidental, reckless, impulsive, or planned, in my opinion. This is where we have to separate ourselves from, well, I'll leave that to the side. We could all do whatever we want on our own. We can identify what the evidence adds without forcing to answer one question or another, is pretty much what I'm saying. Then I did a timeline, which it's not completely done, so I'm not going to share that. But I did want to, the timeline was about, it was like a developmental thing. So developmentally, adolescence and emerging adulthood are periods of heightened reward sensitivity, emotional intensity, identity instability, and still maturing executive control. Those factors can amplify risky relationships. They do not remove responsibility or accountability. A developmental explanation would never become a moral eraser. It usually just helps us understand why young people may remain in escalating systems, misjudge danger, or act impulsively. Although it doesn't really tell us whether, an act was intentional or whether something's going to specifically happen in the future. One of the last things I have here was and I thought that we would have more time, but we don't. But what I planned to do next was to test both narratives. We're not, looking at questions that I would have given the prosecution's narrative, like was the exact threat reliably? So all the things I just asked, so I'm not going to go over that. My last part was my analysis. So this part, I do want to go over real quick. This is like wrapping it up. Here's where I land after comparing the transcript that I just got, the messages, the audio, the interviews, all the things. When I put everything related to the July 17th incident into account, or incidences right before the accident, here's where I land after comparing all of these things. First, July 17th, in my opinion, was not a minor lover's quarrel. A conflict involving a steering wheel, threats about crashing, rain, a highway, emergency calls, and a third party sent to retrieve someone is clearly, and objectively dangerous. Second, the evidence does not allow us to reduce the incident into one uncontested version. So the state's account came through interviews and family reports. Mackenzie's account was documented in real time, but was also disputed in real time. So she was called a liar, right? But it also was never shared. Third, the incident is highly relative to understanding the relationship pattern. It shows escalation crossing into vehicle danger, threats, physical accusations, and family rescue. Fourth, relevance is not the same as proof of a 2-week murder plan. The state used July 17th as one part of a larger circumstantial case, not as a standalone confession. Finally, the strongest interpretation is not that this proves everything or this proves nothing, right? The incident is important here. It creates a behavioral bridge between relationship conflict and the use of a vehicle as a setting or instrument of danger. Whether that bridge proves prior calculation depends on the rest of the case. So the driving data, the route, the acceleration, the lack of braking or braking, depending on which way you look at it, the relationship evidence, and the fact that the fact finder's assessment of all reasonable alternatives. That's the biggest thing that we see in research. When we do research, one of the biggest things that my students need to show me are alternative or reasonable alternatives to getting to that same outcome. So you always need to assess all possible reasonable alternatives. So relevant does not equal conclusive. That distinction is at the heart of everything I was trying to do on tonight's live. So the July 17th incident is haunting for me because it looks different depending on on where we stand in time. In the moment, it was a chaotic relationship emergency with competing accusations. After July 31st, it became a possible warning, a prosecution theme, and a part of a murder narrative. The discipline required in true crime is to hold both realities at once. Warning signs can be real, and hindsight can make them appear clearer than they were. We owe Dominic and Davion more than sensationalism. We owe them careful attention to the evidence, respect for uncertainty, and an honest attempt to understand how relationships, families, and escalating behavior can move towards catastrophe. Okay, so my final question for the chat is, did the July 17th incident strengthen the murder case for you, or did it do the contradictory text create more reasonable doubt? So put a 1 in chat if the July 17th incident strengthened the murder case for you. Put a 2 in chat if it creates reasonable doubt. And I'm going to let Thor out, and then we'll see what you guys wrote with that, and then we'll end the live. So 1 sec. Okay, let's see what you guys are putting. Oh, thank you. You said beautifully said. Vona's on a roll. Oh, hi, Jenny. Vona is so hungry that I'm now eating Reese Pieces. Aren't these the best? I got candy for G's birthday, and now I'm just eating it all. I don't remember what the incident was. So the live tonight was about this whole July 17th thing and how the prosecution used it to show a pattern of bad behavior. So after, taking all that stuff into account, does that, and the July 17th thing is the incident in the car where Mackenzie calls Miss Russo and tells her that Dom just tried to end her life by swerving off the road. For you, does that strengthen? So put a 1 if it makes you think that, this is a prior bad act, that Mackenzie is capable of hurting Dom in the car. Or 2, is it reasonable doubt because maybe it means that Dom tried to do it? Because again, it was 2 things were presented. We were presented with 1 thing at trial. So let me repeat it. I say that. Let me stop this so I can show you myself. All right, hold on, let me get rid of all this. Okay, so my whole point of this is the way that it was presented. After reading the transcripts, I've been reading these transcripts now for like almost 24 hours. And one of the things that I found was that they never presented the text messages where Mackenzie says that Dom tried to run her off the road. The thing that was presented was that incident, that Mackenzie threatened to end Dom's life, not the other way around. And it's important because if that's true, it shows that Mackenzie is capable of doing that. And not only is she capable, she's already threatened it, which then goes to intent. If she could do it before, she could do it then too. So for me, I feel like it was presented, but I don't think the whole thing was presented. Nobody, I mean, not that there was a jury, but, and who knows, the judge may have read the messages and just didn't say anything because the defense never brings it in. But I think that that's like a false, like if you're going to convict her on, you know, being irresponsible, impulsive, taking two people's lives, so on and so forth. But don't paint it as if, you know, like, oh, she planned this so much so that 2 weeks before she had this, like, you know, almost like a test run. But that's not really what the evidence shows if it was presented. Thank you, Joanne. You are a queen. Thank you. And you said exactly. And a wise woman says, and if he had, don't you think there would be evidence of that? So wait, hold on. Yes, so that's the thing, though. So a wise woman, what his family was trying to say, and I believe is still trying to say, is that although we can read these text messages between Mackenzie and Miss Russo, or even Mackenzie and Rosie, she said something to Rosie about it. So even in those text messages, Mackenzie clearly states that Dom tried to end her life in the car. She also says that Kendra was a passenger in the car before. Why didn't they interview Kendra? Or did they? Like, or I don't see anything with Kendra, but why didn't somebody interview Kendra and say, were you ever in the car with Mackenzie and Dom, and did Dom ever, you know, did he do this thing where he started driving really fast to scare you and da-da-da? Legally guilty, factually innocent is in his house. You guys, I want you all to thank her. She is the reason, and I gave you a shout out right from the beginning. I said it quite a few times. Legally guilty, factually innocent is the reason that we have the transcripts. So thank you, mother effing thank you. You have no idea. Legally guilty. I've been like reading since last night when I got these. It's all right though. And I still have so much more to read because I'm like going through and then I'm like, I'm doing it. It's so weird. After you've done research, when you read anything, whether it be a transcript, whatever it is, especially a transcript, because in research, especially in qualitative research where you're doing interviews, you have to transcribe all of your interviews and then you look for themes amongst the interviews. So I'm so used to doing research and stuff that for me, this stuff is right up my alley because I'm like synthesizing all of the data, and that's exactly what we do in research, but that's what I did tonight. I have such a good memory that I used my memory to our advantage, and I remembered, and I think I remembered all of the times that they brought up this July 17th thing, and then I remembered that they were using it to show intent, that if she could do it then, that she could do it, 2 weeks later, but is that really what happened 2 weeks before? And if not, does that make a difference? I mean, does it? Put a 1 in chat. If this isn't, true, does this make you think something different? Or does this not even, I don't even know that the story matters, but it was used to show a prior bad act. I kind of think she had the idea that maybe daydreamed about it when she was mad, but I'm convinced that she was going to do this tonight. And a wise woman, this is the other thing. You guys, I need to find it. And Alexa, you have to, I feel like Alexa knows everything about this case. Legally guilty, maybe you know too, but can somebody please, if you're in the chat and let us know. I swear I listened to an interview, maybe with Bubba, where he says that Mackenzie and Dom, after they arrived at the party that night, like her, Davion, and Dom all come to the party, Mackenzie. The three of them come, so Mackenzie, Dom, and Davion. And then Mackenzie and Dom, Davion stays, and Mackenzie and Dom leave to go back to his house to go pick up like her snacks and stuff, her healthier snacks or whatever for their movies or whatever they were going to do. So they leave briefly to go get their snacks and then come back. Has anybody else heard that? Because if so, why didn't the defense argue that if this was planned, that she would have done it when Davion wasn't in the car? Legally says, I feel like her threats were her effort to regain control of Dom when he pushed back on her. They sure were. Have you seen the school's counselor's notes? No. Where do I find them? Are you sunny now? Oh, I'm dropping Reese Pieces. You guys, I'm making a mess. I got more on the floor than in my mouth. Where can I find the school counselor notes? Oh, you're good. You weren't late to the party. You're actually the reason we're doing this live right now on the trip with the transcripts. So thank you. All right, everyone's with Harla. Harla said, even if he did drive fast to scare them in the past, I don't think that it would have anything to do with what she said. That didn't, but it did show. Okay, to me it's relevant because it showed that driving fast to scare Mackenzie and her friend would be a thing. So why wouldn't Mackenzie at a later date drive fast to scare Dom and Davion? That's why I thought it might be relevant. She was very compulsive. I agree with that. Impulsive too, like very. The school transcripts are in Discord. I dropped them a couple of days ago. Oh, I can't wait to read them. Funny how I say Reese Pieces. How do you say it? Reese's Pieces? Reese Pieces. What do you say? Reese's Pieces, I guess. The right way, probably. You know, I'm from Philly. We make up our own language here. We say the Acme up here. Do you guys have an Acme near you? ACME. In Philly, we call it an Acme. And there's no A. It's only 2 syllables. We add a third. All right, you guys. So I think this was a good live. And I think that it was important because, again, if this is a false narrative about a few days before the incident, then what does that say, right? Or is that the defense's fault for not looking into it? Like, that might not say anything. It might not be relevant anymore at all. Like, could it have been relevant at some point? Sure, but so could have having a jury trial. Let's see. Eastern time, a lot of people say it like that. No Acme, no Wawa, no shit over here. Where's over here at, Birdie? I forget. Refresh my memory. I feel like, is it like Texas or something? Or Tennessee or something with a T? No Acme here either. Utah is very lacking. Oh, you guys, we have everything in Philly. Everything, like too much. Are you sunny now? What is Michelle, thank you for thank you for not only joining my live tonight on your birthday, well, starting last night, but also for your super chat. That was very, very generous. It will go a very long way. And I appreciate you so very much. I should be giving you something for your birthday. So thank you. And thank you to all of my members and all of my jewels that gave me jewels with the poops and the thises and the that's. I love you guys. I really do. The next live, you're not too far from me. Oh, really? You're in Baltimore? Oh my God. We did like a senior trip there. I don't know if I'm ever allowed there again. No, I'm just joking. You would love to hear my thoughts on what? What do you want to hear my thoughts on? Oh, Joanne, I love you. Thank you. Oh, a wise woman and Michelle can go hang out. Oh, what's the obsession? Whenever what the notes from they were probably from Cuff You. Cuff You is the queen, and it's Cuff You's birthday. The school notes on the channel, method and motives. Cuff You's going to send them to me in about 3 seconds because she's good like that. But it's Cuff You's birthday, and she should go enjoy her birthday. All right, you guys, we're going to wrap this up. So I just want to say thank you to my members, my mods, my everything. You are my everything, all of you. If you could subscribe and hit like so that other people could just, if you don't hit like, YouTube doesn't know that you guys enjoyed it, and then it doesn't show it to other people. So a way that you can help me or any creator for free is to like. And if you really want to be awesome and you want to hype, you get 3 hypes a week. What's today? Tomorrow's Tuesday, so it's almost Tuesday. But I believe on Sunday, I guess Monday morning they start. So you should all have 3 hypes for the week. They're free. And you have to wait like about 15 minutes or so after the live stream. And then you'll be able to hype it. And how you hype it is when you go to the comment section under a video, if you scroll, like swipe to the left, you'll see it'll say that, you know, do you want to hype this video? And again, it doesn't do it on all videos, but when it does do it, it's usually like a good 10 minutes or so after. But I appreciate you all. Thank you so much. Happy birthday to Michelle, and happy birthday to Cuff You. Cuff You, I hope you have an amazing birthday tomorrow. I do. I hope you have a beautiful day. I hope all of you have a fabulous day. Thank you all. Birdie, you're amazing. All of you are amazing. Oh, I love you guys. Alexa, did she ask you to go get breakfast? You're going to be like, shut up. She forgot. Or is it not late enough? It's only like 10:30 where you're at. It's 1:30 a.m. where I'm at. Look at that. Cuff You, it's not even your birthday yet on the West Coast. Oh, you'll definitely give me a hype. Thank you. Oh, you got a Sonic shake and a burger. You're such a good mom. You really are. I love you guys. Thank you so much. And until next time, within the next few days, I'll see you. I don't know exactly when, but you'll get a notification, I hope, if you're subscribed. Love you guys. Please share my stuff and like it and subscribe. Until next time, I will see you later. Thank you all. Happy birthday.